Chapter 5639. Don't know if there is any chance in the future. Is really going to meet, he will also repay. After all, he was kind to him. Can't forget. Hui Qing is in the mist while listening. Fortunately, Hui Qing has a simple personality and didn't think much about it. Okay, you just succeeded in joining the road, take a good rest, and let Hui Qing take you to some places in Tumshan Mountain. After a while, I still need your help. As for the passage to other time and space, it will be fundamental for a while. Can't build it, the layout needed. Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing got up at the same time to retire, and then left together. Said it was fun, but in fact it was just to practice. Tumshan Shan has many dojos. The dojos of the three major gods are all here. And the dojo of the gods is just the dojo of the gods, still in a closed state. The dojo of the three great gods is actually opened. But you need to reach the 55th floor before you can practice. Brother Wushuang, I will take you to the public area first. You need a token to be able to practice in the Tomb Mountain. Hui Qing explained, actually, it is similar to the Yuan Lao Palace. Best, but too harsh for most of the inheritors, so many people went to the Senate Palace. Jian Wushuang nodded, agreeing with Hui Qing's words. Tomb Shanshan was created, I am afraid it is to leave a batch of the most peak inheritors. As for the mediocre, it is regarded as elite and slowly cultivated. The two figures have arrived at the foot of the Tomb Mountain. Thunder Island. An island on a mountain. Sounds fantastic, but it is a fact. Because there is still a part of the Tomb Mountain, which is condensed by seawater. There is an island in the sea, which is normal. The island is also very lively. 100,000 years have passed, and I don't know how many more inheritors have come here. It's just getting less every time. The first generation of inheritors, I am afraid that there will be no new blood after a long time. But the second generation inheritors have grown up in the outside world, and some with good aptitudes have been brought into the temple of Qishan. But after coming in, I came directly to the tomb's sacred mountain. There was no screening or any training. You only need to practice on the tomb's sacred mountain for 10,000 years. Those who have the strength can continue to stay, and those who are not strong enough are sent out. But this second-generation inheritor, the threshold for entering the temple of Qishan is very high. First of all, absolute loyalty is required, and the oath of origin is taken. Then there is potential. The ultimate way, of course, there is no need to say more. But after all, the number of ultimate Dao is very small, and most of them are the second-rank original Dao, and some Dao monarchs of the mutated origin. Only by cultivating these people continuously can we screen out enough seedlings for the future tribulation realm. Go here. Hui Qing led the way. On the way, many people stared at Hui Qing, and many people even whispered. He is Hai Qing? Yes, the contemporary Tomb Mountain, the first inheritor, has reached the 60th floor, his strength is terrifying, and he is also the first inheritor. A white-robed boy with fairly good strength, with a look of admiration, added, he is also the pride of our primitive universe, and he is also the #1 power in the world of the Buddha. These words suddenly made many of the powerhouses of the primordial universe look even brighter. There are only a few inheritors from the world of Tongtian Buddhism. There are only a few in total, but only the white-robed young man is here. Also only entered the Tomb Mountain in the last 10,000 years. Most of these inheritors are Taoists, and only a few are emperors. Some practitioners did not show up when they were a Taoist monarch, but after becoming an emperor, they shined brightly. So that, the Tomb Mountain also recruited many emperor inheritors. Hui Qing didn't pay much attention to these eyes and those words. Jian Wushuang joked on the side, Hui Qing, I didn't expect you to be so famous. Brother Wushuang was joking, it's just a fake name. Senior Shang broke through a few days ago and is now on the 60th floor. Hui Qing said back. Shang's breakthrough made Jian Wushuang's expression move. Is a candidate. If the true spirit agreed to him, he could take Shang into consideration. I'm afraid that even if he doesn't think about it, if he really wants to agree, Zhenling will arrange for the business to go with him. Shang is their first ultimate emperor in this long river of time and space, and is also the first inheritor of the Tomb Mountain for the longest time. after being briefly surpassed by Hui Qing, broke through again, and now reached the 60th floor. I'm afraid it's almost a disaster. Hui Qing may still need some time, but the background of Shang is much deeper than that of them. After all, before they were born, Shang was already a fifth-order emperor. Came to the Tomb's sacred mountain, and in a short time, he became a sixth-order emperor, and he directly and seamlessly entered to the top, and then he was fighting the half-step tribulation realm Fuego. No matter what the calculation is, the opponent will be the inheritor who breaks through the disaster realm the fastest. In addition to Shang, Jian Wushuang is very interested in the more famous ultimate emperors on the Tomb Mountain, especially the Light and Shadow Emperor, who was in the same batch with them, is now in the Tomb's sacred mountain, and it is also in the top 5. There are also the Tongtian Buddha and Zhengying. These people have a good background. The potential is not small, especially Zhengying and Tongtian Buddha. The source of the two is not the ultimate, but it is the source of variation. Can be in the same rank, not weak to the ultimate emperor. Is even bigger than that. Today's Tomb Mountain, but there are hundreds of ultimate emperors. Zhen Wuyang and Tongtian Buddha can rank in the top 10, but they are not beyond most of the ultimate emperors. Is also the ultimate emperor, some of them are more alternative, such as monsters like Hui Qing. Or Shang, an old monster who has practiced endless years, has a terrifying background. It is the two of Guangying and the backbone. It is not easy to enter the top 10 among a crowd of monsters. Thinking of this, within a short while, the two of them arrived outside a hall for 100 years. Desolate ancient palace. Jian Wushuang looked up and read the words on the plaque silently. This deserted ancient, he didn't know whether it represented the deserted ancient of Morua time and space, or because of the deserted master. Brother Wushuang, this deserted ancient temple is the Pepsi Hall on the Tomb God Mountain. The inheritor accepts the task, or the new inheritor must come here first. Hui Qing pointed to the hall and explained to Jian Wushuang. At this time, there happened to be a guardian and an envoy from the Vermilion Bird Hall who entered the hall. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang and two of them also walked in with them. These inheritors are numerous, exceeding 100,000. There are many emperors among them. Jian Wushuang knew that this should have been searched from the outside world. Just came to study for a period of time, I guess I won't stay for too long. Inheritors of this scale, I'm afraid it will take hundreds of millions of years for such a batch to come. The long line of 100,000 people is not crowded at all in the hall. Chapter 5640. Mingming Hall is so big, but it seems to be able to accommodate countless people. The spatial structure in this one may only be discovered when it reaches the cosmic realm. And in the temple at this time, only Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing had this strength. As for the guardian, he cannot be regarded as a person. The two walked directly to the front counter, ignoring the new inheritors. My lord, are they the inheritors of this place? Many people in the team were very curious. Perhaps they had listened to the legend of the Temple of God from the time they were born, and of course they were very curious when they came in for the first time. Among these people, there are also several people who have passed on from generation to generation. They came from the outside world, and now they are returning, but there is nothing unusual about them. When I saw Hui Qing, there was respect in his eyes besides envy. Hearing those little guys inquiring, he quickly interrupted, "Don't be rude, this place is the Tomb Mountain, they are your uncle, let alone that existence, but the first inheritor of the contemporary Tomb Mountain." The first inheritor? It's too strong. Is the great Emperor Wanqing? Someone asked curiously. The words have made the first-generation inheritor leak a wry smile. Wanqing the Great is also the 10,000-star emperor, and now he has a supreme existence. To command a universe, power and strength are the peaks. Many of these little guys are from the 10,000-star universe, and naturally they highly respect the strength of 10,000 stars, and think that the great Emperor Wanqing is the strongest existence in the Tomb's sacred mountain. This, you have to ask Wanqing yourself. After getting the token, Jian Wushuang glanced at some of the tasks above. Most of them are the long-term tasks of the outside world. There are few missions in the 4 secret realms, and some are also auxiliary missions. There is no danger at all. These tasks are open to the inheritors. Those little guys from the outside world don't need to accept them. They only need to honestly practice in the Tomb Mountain for thousands of years. Where are you going now? Jian Wushuang asked. Hui Qing pointed to a copper furnace outside. Ordinary inheritors, now they need to temper their bodies. Brother Wushuang doesn't need to go, just go climbing. Temper the flesh. Jian Wushuang really didn't have this need. His physical body was extremely powerful, and he was refined to the 10th chain in Shanjin's universe copper furnace. Has reached perfection. As for climbing the mountain mentioned by Yu Huiqing, Jian Wushuang understands. This is something that all inheritors must do. The height to climb is also the standard for resource allocation in the future. Now Jian Wushuang's strength, I dare not say much, the 60th floor is easy. I just don't know, I can reach the 60 or so floors. According to the division, the Lord of the Universe can reach the 70th floor. Is the level of the powerhouse of the Three Tribulations realm, and still masters the Three Tribulations realm of the universe. The 80 floor is the Fifth Order realm. 90 floor is the Six Tribulations realm. On the 99 floor, he reached the strength comparable to the Seven Tribulations realm. If you surpass the 99 floor and all break through, you will be a real powerhouse in the Seven Tribulations realm. At the beginning, this Tomb Mountain was established. I am afraid it is to find a successor who can reach the powerhouse of the Seven Tribulations realm. Seven Tribulation realm powerhouse. No matter what time and space they are in, they are absolute hegemons. The of the original is even more comparable to the powerhouse of the Eight Tribulations realm. That kind of strength is even more terrifying. No wonder even the extinction is honest and dare not do anything. After breaking the gods, the strength of extinction was frozen in the half-step Seven Tribulation realm, but it was too arrogant. Maybe it's because of calculations, otherwise there is nothing wrong with the gods. Before the rise of the gods, killing the gods, wouldn't it be better to control the original Morua time and space? Or is it because of the calculation to the present? I feel that Morua time and space can't come out to master the power of life? Is possible. Everything is possible. Jian Wushuang stood at the bottom of the mountain, looking up at the top. Huiqing also stood aside and said, this mountain climbing is not dangerous, and there is no opponent. You just need to release your breath and walk forward. However, after reaching the 55th floor, if you want to open up a cave, you will encounter guardian beasts. The strength is a bit strong. Desolate beast? Jian Wushuang's eyes turned, so that Huiqing could say something strong, which should be interesting. Opening up the cave and encountering the guardian of the desolate beast, if you reach the 80th floor, when opening up the cave, wouldn't it mean that you will encounter the desolate beast of the robbery? But the current temple of Qixin, apart from purgatory, there is no catastrophe. Zhuangzhong was also thrown into the long river of time and space by the real spirit. Could it be said that a lot of robbery beasts have been suppressed here? If so, he could make a fortune this time. The whole body of the wild beast is precious. Flesh and flesh can refine essence and blood to replenish the origin of his beasts. The skeleton can increase his divine body, and it is a great tonic. And the origin of the beast, although barbarous, the rules above are somewhat interesting, is also a treasure. But he is now the emperor, and ordinary beasts can't get stuck. At least he needs to have the desolate beast with the power of the robbery realm before he can appreciate it. Let's start on the 60th floor. I will come as soon as I go, it should be soon. Then he walked directly up the stairs of the Tomb Mountain. Huiqing is left alone, looking forward to it. At this time, there are also many people on the stairs. Many people are even opening up caves. Although there are no desert beasts in the opening of the cave below the 55th floor, the structure of the Tomb Mountain is unusually tough, and the overall quality exceeds the eternal treasure. It's not that simple to open a cave. Even if the quality of Yamashita is not good, it will take years to develop. Many inheritors are below the 55th floor. There are very few people above 50 floors. In the Emperor, to reach the 55th floor, you need absolute strength. But the absolute weakness of the weakness is not enough. Even if it is Wuzhua, I am afraid it can only reach the point where it is in the early 50s. After all, there are many ultimate emperors, and they are not the absolute pinnacle of mutation origin. Thinking of this, you reading www.ukanshu.com. Jian Wushuang is a little puzzled. How did Qishan accept such an apprentice Wuzhua in the first place? Even if it is a named disciple, it is too sloppy. The strength can be seen in ordinary extreme peaks, but in Tomb's sacred mountain, it is average. Besides, I have been practicing for such a long time without any improvement. Throwing away these distracting thoughts, Jian Wushuang took a step forward. His aura reached the 50th floor without even reaching the normal state. In just a few breaths, Jian Wushuang directly reached the 50th floor. You must know that there are only dozens of people who have reached the 55th floor of the inheritors on the Tomb Mountain. After all, the time for practice is very short. Can reach the 55th floor, that is not the strong one among the best. Jian Wushuang boarded in just one step. Except for Hui Qing, countless people at the bottom looked at Jian Wushuang with disbelief. Who is he and how can he be so strong? The absolute powerhouse who opened up the cave on the 55th floor. After feeling the familiar aura at this time, he broke the barrier in an instant. When I saw Jian Wushuang, there was no surprise. Chapter 5641. You can be regarded as a good way. The speaker is Zhenwuyang. But this is just a dharma body of Zhenwuyang. The deity should be in the long river of time and space outside. After Jian Wushuang saw his acquaintance, he nodded slightly, did not say much, and planned to open the cave directly. There are more than a dozen cave houses on the 50th floor at this time. Of course, some cave houses have been deserted. Some of the strong people who reached the 55th floor have already broken through and reached a higher position. Found that Jian Wushuang opened a cave on the 50th floor, Hui Qing below was a little surprised. With his eyes, he can see Jian Wushuang's strength, and he is by no means weaker. Can reach at least the 60th floor. There is no need to waste time on the 50th floor. But then he understood. A desolate beast with perfect consummation rushed out of the Tomb God Mountain in an instant. Seems to have been suppressed for countless years. It just appeared, the aura on the body suddenly skyrocketed, an unmatched power appeared, and the shocking power made many of the inheritors below look pale. The strength of this barren beast can definitely rank in the top 10 in the Tomb Mountain. Zhenwuyang's expression was trembling when he felt the breath, and he couldn't help but reminded, "Be careful, this barren beast is not simple, it is very likely that it has broken through its strength when suppressed." When he first opened up the cave on the 55th floor, he didn't encounter such a powerful beast. The strength of this barren beast is even stronger than his deity. Can only say that Jian Wushuang's luck is a bit bad. He thought that Jian Wushuang opened up the cave on the 55th floor, and his strength only reached the 55th floor, but he knew what Jian Wushuang really thought. Now Jian Wushuang not only yearns for treasures, but also improves himself. Is more eager to fight life and death. What a pity, everyone on Tomb God Mountain can fight. The Zhuangzhong is the strong man in the robbery realm, he can try his own strength. Facing this desolate beast, Jian Wushuang didn't even pull out the Jueyun sword behind him. He flashed to the desolate beast's side instantly. There was no change in the aura on his body, just a hand knife, directly piercing the desolate beast's body. The power brought by this hand knife exploded from the inside, directly exploding the entire body of the desolate beast. Jian Wushuang was also taken aback by his own sword. The strength had just broken through and he couldn't grasp it for a while, but the opponent burst out with one blow. Fortunately, he has the power to swallow, and with one hand he condenses the burst of flesh and blood into a ball. 10,000 battle-sized wild beasts turned into a drop of blood in a blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang took advantage of the trend and included him in the Beast Warrior. The origin within the Beast Warrior is once again stronger. Although today's beasts have reached the perfect body, the internal origin is still a bit weak, and it has not reached the origin of the universe. Therefore, it is necessary to continuously devour the blood beasts to improve. This. Zhenwuyang stared at Jian Wushuang in disbelief. The fight just now was too fast, even Zhenwuyang didn't see any changes in Jian Wushuang, and the wild beast completely fell. That was an ancient barren beast that was a bit stronger than his deity, so it was solved. That Jian Wushuang's strength, how terrifying! Jian Wushuang saw the Stungeon Wiang, he leaked a smile, raised his hand slightly and said, "See you soon." After finishing speaking, a flash of body has reached the 51st floor. Then the cave was opened up layer by layer, and the beasts that had been beheaded also vaguely entered his beast weapon. 60 floors. So far, the highest level among all the inheritors on the Tomb God Mountain. This news instantly detonated all the inheritors on the Tomb God Mountain to come and watch. The merchants who couldn't even get out of retreat also walked out of the cave. When they saw Jian Wushuang, they didn't speak, the two just nodded to each other. On the 54th floor, a strong man covered in white bones also walked out of the cave, raised his head and stared at Jian Wushuang above, with a trace of unwillingness in his eyes. He is the top 3 superpower house in the Tomb Mountain. The space has reached the cosmic realm, and he has created a unique pinnacle of knowledge. Is the ultimate emperor of the bones. Before Huiqing joined the road, only Shang could crush him. But he doesn't care, because Shangben is the Tomb Mountain where the ultimate emperor comes, and he has been practicing for a lot longer than him. He is confident that he will surpass Shang in the future. But later Huiqing succeeded in joining together, and instantly caught up with him. After returning from the human world, he directly became an absolute powerhouse, surpassing Shang in one era. This made him feel the unprecedented pressure, so that the disputes in the outside world are ignored, and he is practicing with all his heart. The universe named after him in his hometown was breached by the Temple of Destruction, but he still couldn't get out of the barrier. Now someone has surpassed him again, and his heart is shaking. Is Jian Wushuang, the invincible Taoist once. Just as he joined the road, he was going to get the name of an invincible emperor. The Light and Shadow Emperor, who is ranked 4th, looks like a shadow in a dark area, and also raises his head to stare at Jian Wushuang. It's just that his Dao Xian hasn't changed in any way. Because of his heart, he always believes that light and shadow will obscure time and space, and that he will be the real superpower in the future. In addition to these top-level super inheritors, there are also many ordinary inheritors who have just arrived at the Tomb Mountain. Their eyes are full of envy and yearning. Reach the 60th floor of the Tomb Mountain. Has the strength to cross the entire time and space. The number 1 powerhouse in the outside world is the Azure Dragon Palace Master. The strength is only 60 levels. Of course, if you really talk about combat power, I am afraid that Zhuangzhong is the real number 1. After all, is a strong robbery realm. It's just that Zhuangzhong didn't show up, but kept sitting in a dangerous place. Shocked the Temple of Destruction. This is more useful than conquest. If it is a conquest, it can destroy the Temple of Destruction. These inheritors have already left. If you really want to take action in the Tribulation realm, I am afraid that extinction will also take action. In other words, there are other means of extinction, which can create battle power in the Tribulation realm. You reading www.akanshu.com. After all, the power of that holy water is too terrifying. 60 layers of combat power. The entire long river of time and space can reach the standard, except for those outside the territory. No more than 5 people. Broly is not Azure Dragon's opponent, he shouldn't reach this level yet. Now there are 3 people on the Tomb God Mountain plus himself. Jiang Shang from the outside world also has the strength, even surpassing the 60th floor. Plus the Green Dragon Palace Lord. Exactly 5 people. This kind of powerful combat power, even if it goes to some powerful time and space, it is also a top powerhouse. In the original Morua time and space, although there were a large group of Tribulation realms, and even many lords of the universe. But fights rarely occur, and most of them are dominated by emperors. Like Jian Wushuang's strength at the beginning, how could he be a general, and it was still very advanced? Because of the strength of the Magic Sound General and others, there are strong and weak. 60 floors, really extraordinary. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. At this moment he felt a sense of exhaustion. Chapter 5642. That is the force of the rules of Tomb Mountain, suppressing him. Now he wanted to see how powerful the desolate beasts at this level were. The origin of the beasts is almost the same. The distance to reach the origin level of the universe is only a desolate beast with the power of a catastrophe. Just on the 59th floor, the barren beast he encountered had an attack comparable to the tribulation realm. But this is not enough. It's just comparable to the attack. The key is that the strongest move is comparable to the robbery realm. If it is really a robbery desolate beast, any random move is the strongest blow of the desolate beast just now. In terms of strength, there is a huge difference. Pinnacle, the corners of his mouth raised when he was really inspired by this scene. A trace of thought power, manipulating the tomb mountain, awakened a real catastrophe beast. It was a good sale to Jian Wushuang, and he also asked Jian Wushuang. It's a good thing. Jian Wushuang's eyes turned, and he also found a breath, quietly appearing. This time, before he went to open the cave mansion, a wild beast appeared, probably because of the real spirit. An inconspicuous stone is cracking on the 60th floor of Tumshan Mountain. The size of the stone is only a few steps long and wide. It's not a big deal. But at the next moment, the stone cracked and an orc with long head and feet rushed out. Sure enough, it was almost the same as Jian Wushuang thought. The desolate beast in front of him is no longer a desolate beast, but a murderer. Frozen demon race. Jian Wushuang stared at the opponent's appearance, thinking of a monster he had seen in Morua time and space. That is the time and space of Morua, the overlord group of the ancient times. Although it is the overlord, but the number is very rare, even less than the special life. No more than 10,000 heads in total. But birth is the earth immortal, adult is the emperor. Without any constraints, it is easier to break through. He has seen portraits of each other in books. You are freezing the demon race. The little murderer, a little surprised Jian Wushuang could recognize him, asked in surprise. Jian Wushuang said indifferently, I knew it by chance. It belongs to that era now? Why can't I feel the movement of the long river of time and space? The small murderer with the sharp horns of the elder raised his head and looked at the void sky, somewhat puzzled. Jian Wushuang didn't bother to explain, but replied casually, Beat me, you will know. Haha. Your breath is too weak, isn't it too easy to defeat you? Try it. Jian Wushuang did it directly. He arrived behind the opponent in an instant, and the speed was so fast that he didn't even see the business close to him very clearly. Only Hui Qing, who returned to the 60th floor, saw the moment Jian Wushuang flashed. Speed has merged with time. Jian Wushuang's speed surpassed the emperor too much. Others can't see it and it's normal. Those inheritors above the 55th floor could still see Jian Wushuang's methods at first, but at this time, they discovered that their consciousness could not keep up with Jian Wushuang's changes. Jian Wushuang, who came to the back of the fierce beast, struck out a punch, but he didn't expect that the other party didn't even turn around, and then caught his punch with his back. This surprised Jian Wushuang very much. With this strength, I am afraid I will be able to know the truth soon. The little fierce beast suddenly turned his head, opened his brown lips, and instantly blurted out a violent force, directly facing Jian Wushuang. Because of being caught, Jian Wushuang couldn't hide at all, so he could only resist this move. Boom! An attack directly burst the mountain that was comparable to the eternal treasure. Jian Wushuang, the nearest one, disappeared in the billowing smoke. A cold sweat appeared on Hui Qing's forehead, and the next moment he felt a familiar breath, just above the sky. Looking up, it was Jian Wushuang. A dark red armor, covering the whole body. Above the battle armor, there is still a trace of power that has just been destroyed. Click. Jian Wushuang leaked his appearance, stared at the murderer below, and asked, You are in a few catastrophes. It can be resisted. The little murderer was very surprised. After seeing the treasure on Jian Wushuang, his eyes shrank and he was shocked. Beast God Soldier. Do you know each other? This time it was Jian Wushuang's turn to be surprised. The other party knew the Beast God Soldier. I am afraid that he had some reputation in Morua time and space. Although the frozen demon race did not come back later, it was also a super race. The little murderer gritted his teeth and stared at Jian Wushuang viciously and said, "It's hard not to know this seat. At the beginning, someone used the beast god weapon to attack my frozen demon race and kill my people. It's true to look at the other person. And hatred is not small. My ancient temple, I will avenge the race today." With a roar, countless rubbles all around burst open. On the 60th floor, the other two people, Shang and Huiqing, were shocked by this roar. Tribulation. At this time, both Huiqing and Shang, or the other ultimate emperors below, could feel the oppression from the ancient temple. Only Tribulation Realm will have this sense of oppression. 60th floor, how can there be a catastrophe? Everyone felt incredible. Jian Wushuang was eager to try. Unexpectedly, he encountered the Tribulation Realm ahead of time. It seems that there is no need to fight at this level. Otherwise, these 60 floors would not be able to stay. With a move in his heart, he transmitted the true spirit and asked the other party to teleport him to the 65th floor. "Are you sure? The power of the rules there will suppress you very much?" Zhen Ling asked uncertainly. Jian Wushuang was very persistent. Now only he himself knows his own strength. The power of the 65th layer of rules could not suppress him. On the contrary, it will let him go as he pleases. Although Zhenling was a little puzzled, he still did it. He also did the same, wanting to see how powerful Jian Wushuang was after he joined forces. The 65th floor is desolate. The space here is more solidified, the gravity is 10,000 times higher than the outside world, and the force of rules is even more terrifying. If Jian Wushuang wanted to tear the space here, it might not be easy. When you look down, you can clearly see the people below. What's the matter? The ancient temple was a little puzzled. How could it be moved here suddenly? And he felt that the pressure here was great. There have been some subtle effects on him. "Human, is you doing it?" the ancient temple asked. Jian Wushuang did not refute, but nodded indifferently. "I said, as long as you defeat me, you can know everything. Now you don't need to ask too much, as long as you understand, if you don't defeat me, you will die." Jian Wushuang yelled, and the breath on his body began to boil. The strength that burst out in an instant caused the short ancient temple to resist with his arms. Jian Wushuang was surrounded by a dark red arc. This is his strongest strength under normal circumstances. If it weren't for the power of the stars, his state at this time would probably be the strongest state. "You actually hide your strength." The ancient temple was a little disdainful. Even after feeling Jian Wushuang exploded with strength comparable to him, he still remained unmoved. Chapter 56-43. Very calm. Jian Wushuang was not surprised at this, because he knew the secrets of the frozen demon race's talents. The natural change Dao strong. After becoming a robbery, you can transform your body. The strength of the ancient temple is not weak, it is not an ordinary one tribulation realm, and it may even be a strong one in the two tribulation realm. It can transform itself and burst out stronger strength. "Stop talking nonsense, let's do it." Jian Wushuang rushed out directly, and the two came to a stairway among the rocks, facing each other far away. Just a moment, an instant shot. This time, the ancient temple took the first shot, and a pair of sharp claws instantly appeared in front of Jian Wushuang's eyes. It's a pity that Jian Wushuang has already exploded this time, and his strength is not what it used to be. He saw the opponent's moves and directly grabbed the wrist of the ancient temple. Jian Wushuang's hands were like a chain, tightly binding the wrist of the ancient temple, especially the left arm that blends into the claw of the beast god. A dark red light burst out. 60,000 times the divine body burst out with endless mighty power in an instant. The two were in a stalemate like this. The ancient temple clenched their teeth, the threaded foreheads, there was already a trace of sweat, and the eyes in the eye holes burst out with countless bloodshot eyes. The two of them are competing for supernatural power. The people below can see clearly, because this time there is no quick battle, but a stalemate. Although Jian Wushuang clung to the opponent's wrist, he could feel the strength of the opponent. To outsiders, the ancient temple is now passive. But only Jian Wushuang knew that his current power was not enough. "If you don't break out, I'm afraid the opponent will break free. Beast God! Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and the dark red aura on his body soared instantly. In the next moment, the power of the beast broke out completely. The realm of the beast god is wide open. The power of Jian Wushuang's divine body turned into the power of beast gods. Click. After Jian Wushuang broke out, he easily smashed the ancient temple's methods, freed his left hand, and hit the opponent's chest with a punch. Cracks appeared directly on the soft armor of the ancient temple. A mouthful of brown blood spurted from the mouth of the ancient temple. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang dodged in time without splashing himself. In the domain, Jian Wushuang was extremely fast. After a punch to the ancient temple, he immediately went around behind the opponent's stretched body, raised his leg and kicked it hard. Under the double explosive force, the ancient temple was slightly injured, and the battle armor was completely cracked. In the meantime, Jian Wushuang did not forget to ridicule, "If you want to vomit blood all over me, I have to vomit faster." After speaking, he clenched his hands into a punch and slammed it on the head of the ancient temple. Boom! The ancient temple that was smashed to the ground from a high altitude struggled to get up. This time Jian Wushuang didn't make another move, and it was meaningless to solve the opponent too quickly. He can feel that the strength of the ancient temple is much more than that. At this time, the beast god realm he opened was also considered to be the power of the beast god, capable of increasing his divine body to about 80,000 times. It was already at the level of the robbery realm, and coupled with the power of the beast god, could he beat the opponent with divine power. These powers can be regarded as the top of the one tribulation realm, but not the peak. If this little strength can't hold it, then the other party will disappoint him too much. The ancient temple stood up from a miniature stone pit and wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Staring at Jian Wushuang's dark red eyes, there was no trace of fear, but full of fighting spirit. "You actually have 80,000 divine bodies, which is really good." The ancient temple tore off the rotten soft armor on his body and leaked out his chest with obvious lines. "It's just that the limbs are very slender and I can't see how strong it is." Jian Wushuang frowned when he saw the soft armor being ripped off at will. Although he recognized his strength very much, he was not arrogant enough to destroy the ultimate eternal treasure. The opponent's strength is so strong, and it is the frozen demon race. Even if there is no universe treasure, how can he have a set of the best eternal treasure? Now he can buy the ultimate eternal treasure at will. What's more, the opponent is in the tribulation realm. How could the treasures on his body be so ordinary? He broke it with a few tricks. "Why, do you think the treasures on my body are terrible?" The ancient temple moved his wrists, the broken bones had long been restored, and then said, "Because my divine body exceeds 100,000, so I don't need any defensive treasures." As soon as the voice fell, a force that shook the world suddenly exploded. Jian Wushuang's eyes were hot, and he felt that the other party was not that simple. The divine body of the ancient temple exploded again, and it really reached 100,000 times. The burst of power made his speed surprisingly fast. Jian Wushuang didn't even see the shadow of the opponent, and he was thrown over by the opponent's foot. Just when he was about to get up, the ancient temple used force again and stepped on Jian Wushuang's younger generation to collapse. Had it not been for the beasts, I am afraid that this foot could penetrate his divine body. Boom! This was not over yet. The ancient temple did not give Jian Wushuang any chance, clenched a fist with one hand, and blasted Jian Wushuang's head with a fist. Breaking the ground directly, Jian Wushuang's entire body was embedded in the ground. The ancient superpower house is really extraordinary. And he is also a super strong man who takes the line of the body. That power made Jian Wushuang feel desperate. The power of the beast god. Jian Wushuang forcibly endured the cracking of the divine body and forcibly broke out the power of the beast god. This time he unlocked twice the power of the beast god. The divine body has also increased by 100,000 times, which is the same as that of the ancient temple. One turned over and rushed up instantly. The ancient temple raised its brows and said in surprise, "You recovered so quickly." The other party didn't know that Jian Wushuang possessed strong vitality. Even if Jian Wushuang didn't use twice the power of the beast god, The opponent couldn't kill him. This is the benefit of the source. The background is too strong. Although both of them are now using pure divine power, the origin is also indispensable. Jian Wushuang, who stood up, quickly entered a state of life and death duel. Fighting with the ancient temple is inextricably difficult. With twice the power of the beast god, Jian Wushuang can still bear it now. As for the beasts, there is no problem. Although the origin within the beast god soldier has not yet reached the level of the universe, it can maintain Jian Wushuang's 3 times the power of the beast god. With only 3 times the power of the beast god, Jian Wushuang would be a little strenuous. The strongest is twice the power of the beast god, increasing the divine body to 100,000 times. That is to say, on the basis, a full 40,000 times the divine body has been added. The power of the beast is the power that bursts out after the candle dragon. The beast soldier recovers to full body. Jian Wushuang is called the power of the beast god. When he was not a perfect body, he could only explode the beast god realm and the amplified god body. As for the power of the beast god, it was very weak and did not match his own god body. Jian Wushuang didn't care about it at the beginning. But after becoming a complete body, Jian Wushuang discovered that the power of this beast was much stronger than the bursting power of his own basic body. The power of Jian Wushuang's 100,000 times divine body and transformed beast is capable of exploding beyond its own power. Chapter 5644. So that Jian Wushuang became stronger in Vietnam, and the divine body showed no signs of decline. Although the power of life and the power of all things can supplement oneself. But the injury of the divine body is difficult to recover. Even if Jian Wushuang is injured, it will cause the divine body to decline. But this time, although he suffered some injuries, the divine body became stronger as he fought. This is the resilience of the power of the beast god. A punch directly hit the front door of the ancient temple. How is this possible? The ancient temple couldn't believe it. After he was injured, the divine body had begun to decline, but Jian Wushuang's divine body was stronger in Vietnam and was able to suppress him. Jian Wushuang was full of fighting spirit, without any intention to stop, constantly beating the ancient temple. If you really want to kill the opponent, he can use kendo directly, but it's not necessary, just play. Since the opponent's divine body is very strong, he uses it to defeat the opponent. With a kicking the ancient temple into the rock pile, Jian Wushuang panted heavily and said with disdain, "Are you just this strength?" The ancient temple in the pile of rocks did not answer. Jian Wushuang could clearly feel the breath of the other party, and he didn't think that the ancient temple had just fallen. "I heard that you frozen demon race can transform after reaching the tribulation realm. I don't know if it is true or not." Jian Wushuang stared down and continued, "If you don't use it anymore, I won't give you a chance." After seeing Jian Wushuang blasting against the ancient temple, the people below felt that Jian Wushuang was about to win, but they were all taken aback when they saw Jian Wushuang did not take advantage of the victory. They couldn't hear Jian Wushuang's voice, they could only see Jian Wushuang's lips moving. Jian Wushuang, who came up with the intent to fight, didn't want to just kill the opponent like this. At least have to come up with some strength that surprises him. Otherwise it's too wasteful. He didn't use his origin to fight the opponent anymore. If he didn't show some strength, he would be a little bit sorry for him. The ancient temple stood up from the pile of rocks, slapped the dust on his body and walked out faintly. When he looked up at Jian Wushuang, the corners of his eyes trembled. "Do you know that I can transform, so I am not afraid that I will kill you after my strength soars?" The ancient temple's voice was low. Transformation is the secret method of their clan's talent. There are very few people who know, and the human race in front of him actually knows that his status is not low, and his status in the Temple of Chishan is very high. At this time, the thinking of the ancient temple was still in Morwa time and space in ancient times. His strength was not considered strong at the beginning. In the robbery realm, he can only be regarded as an ordinary member. Jian Wushuang was able to suppress him, indicating that Jian Wushuang's strength was not very good. In his impression, there are many 5 tribulations realm powerhouses in the Chishan temple. There are also 3 major gods, and they are superpowers in the Six Tribulations realm. That's why Jian Wushuang's identity should not be very high. But to be able to know the secrets of their clan's talents, I am afraid it is extraordinary. It should be a kind of arrogant god in the temple of Qishan. Only Tianjiao, who is against the sky, can give him such an arrogant opportunity to transform. Jian Wushuang stared at the ancient temple, shook his head and said calmly, "You are so confident." Haha. The ancient temple burst into laughter, his eyes began to condense, and the aura on his body began to change, and continued. "It seems that you don't know much. Do you think my transformation is simple? The frozen demon race, the reason why God did not rule Morua time and space before the arrival of the ancient times, is that it has a real ability. Do not rely on any foreign objects and secret methods. Simply relying on talent alone can dominate the long river of time and space. The sparsely numbered frozen demon race can be so strong. How can it be mediocre? Mortal witness." A group of white lights flickered, and the ancient temple laughed frantically. "Prepare, are you ready for death?" The white light exploded, and the dazzling light made Jian Wushuang even unable to open his eyes. I could only vaguely see a figure, curled up in a ball, slowly standing up. After the light disappeared, the breath receded. Jian Wushuang saw the appearance of the ancient temple after its transformation. It can be said that the appearance has changed drastically from before. From short and thin, to burly and strong. The face changed very little, and the two tentacles on the top of the head remained. For a while, Jian Wushuang couldn't feel the strength of the opponent. How about it? How satisfied with the appearance of this seat after transformation? The ancient temple opened his palm and slowly raised it. When Jian Wushuang was about to nod his head to answer, a powerful force instantly overturned him and retreated thousands of miles. Before he could stabilize his figure, the ancient temple had already arrived in front of him, and a top knee directly pressed Jian Wushuang to the ground. Squeezing Jian Wushuang's neck with one knee and looking down at Jian Wushuang, he said in a cold voice, "My current supernatural power is 180,000. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank when he heard this number. 180,000? What kind of monster is that? Is this the superpower of the divine body stream? He had heard at the beginning that those who are strong in divine body flow will become stronger in the later stage. But I never thought it would be so outrageous. Previously, he felt that after the opponent's transformation, the strongest could reach 120,000, and even 130,000 would be considered good. Unexpectedly, it reached 180,000 directly. This divine power is probably directly comparable to the superpower in the Three Tribulations realm. No wonder the other party is so confident. You reading www.Akanshu. What a surprise. The current Jian Wushuang, in the hands of the ancient temple, is really like a mortal. There is no room to fight back. Keep getting beaten up. The divine body has split, and it has dropped directly from 100,000 times to 60,000 times. The power of the beast also faded. The ancient temple tied Jian Wushuang's neck with its tail, and when he mentioned midair, he punched Jian Wushuang's chest with a punch. Soon, the basic divine body could not be maintained. Jian Wushuang's divine body was completely shattered. The face was beaten full of blood. 6 holes bleeding. No. Played it. Jian Wushuang spit out a few words hard, his eyelids trying to close uncontrollably. However, the ancient temple did not stop and continued to ravage Jian Wushuang without forgetting to ridicule. Don't you want to see my real strength? Why can't I hold it? This time, Jian Wushuang really couldn't hold it anymore. Although his divine body has the blessing of the power of the beast god, it can indeed reach the battle power of the robbery, but it is far worse than the opponent. 100,000 and 180,000. It seems that there is a difference of 80,000, but in fact, it is infinitely different. Even if it was 10,000 more than Jian Wushuang, they couldn't beat the opponent. Not to mention, a full 80,000 more. Even if it uses 3 times the power of the beast to increase the divine body to 120,000, it is not an opponent. In the divine power competition, Jian Wushuang lost. But he can't be blamed either, The ancient temple is a strong robbery of the divine body flow. His current basic divine body is only 60,000, and after he joined the Tao, he is not very helpful to the divine body. It is still he himself spent countless treasures to upgrade to 60,000. How can he compare with the other party? Only when the beast soldier is complete, he has such a powerful divine power. If he waited for him to upgrade his body to the emperor consummation, he would be able to fight the opponent. Chapter 5645. Those special beings, the divine body at the peak, the limit can reach 80,000 times. If Jian Wushuang reached that level and then raised the origin of the beast gods to the cosmic level, he might be able to use 5 times the power of the beast gods. Not afraid of ancient temples. But now, he had just succeeded in the harmony, and he couldn't reach that level after all the treasures were spent. After giving up the divine body, Jian Wushuang's thought power moved, and the power of life emerged instantly. Although the injury of the divine body did not return to its peak, the injury of Jian Wushuang's physical body healed instantly. As for the origin, even if the opponent has 180,000 supernatural powers, it will not hurt his origin starry sky. He lit up half of the universe as well as the endless starry sky. Even if the Lord of the Universe is allowed to come over, there is no guarantee that Jian Wushuang's origin can be crushed. What's more, it is an ancient temple that takes the route of the gods. 18,000 divine bodies are indeed very powerful. It was already comparable to the ordinary 3 tribulations realm, and of course it was certainly not a match for the Lord of the Universe. It's not that simple to master the tribulation realm of the universe. And now, the ancient temple is facing a strong man who controls the half-sitting universe. Jian Wushuang's origin burst out instantly, and an aura that could affect the rules burst out, making the ancient temple's mind trembling. Eternal change. Gucha's eyes were shocked. He didn't expect Jian Wushuang to have such a powerful origin. I thought he was a strong man in the line of the divine body just like him, but turned out to be an existence who mastered the ultimate way. And when he felt the origin of Jian Wushuang, the ancient temple immediately let go of its tail in surprise, and threw Jian Wushuang aside, shuddering, "You are only an emperor." Jian Wushuang slowly stood up. The arc on his body also turned light blue. That was the power of the starry sky. This is the first time he has performed the ancient changes after he joined the road and reached the peak state. Why is it surprising? Jian Wushuang's eyes became unusually tough. When he raised his hand and pulled out the Jueyun sword from behind, time and space stopped flowing. The ancient temple was even scared back. That power reminded him of the original Lord of the Universe. "I've played enough, you should die too." A huge sword shadow appeared between heaven and earth. This made everyone tremble. A sword struck the ancient temple with 180,000 divine bodies. His eyes only felt a little asymmetry, but the next moment the body was transformed into 2 pieces. Jian Wushuang opened up hundreds of swords in an instant, and the ancient temple was turned into pieces in astonishment. Raising his hand, a group of huge forces of all things condensed force directly burst. Boom! After the power of all things burst, the body of the ancient temple turned into blood and floated in the void. Jian Wushuang was surprised, but he didn't kill the opponent. The divine body of 180,000 times is really extraordinary. However, the ancient temple turned into flesh and blood was directly swallowed by his swallowing power and entered into the palm of his hand. Under the suppression of the powerful starry sky, the consciousness remaining in the blood was directly destroyed. Only blood containing endless power is left. Jian Wushuang instilled the blood into the beast god weapon and let out a sigh of relief. Finally solved. Without using the starry sky catalog, he can kill the strong at the pinnacle of the second tribulation realm. Of course, although the combat power of the ancient temple had reached the threshold of the 3 tribulations, it was a purely divine body route after all, and it was still a little too weak. In addition, after being suppressed for so many years, the 18 divine body did not play a big role, so he solved it. It can only be regarded as the peak and consummation of the second tribulation. If he showed the Starry Sky catalog, he could match the ordinary Three Tribulations realm powerhouse. As for the Lord of the Universe, he might not be the opponent. In the Three Tribulations realm, there is a huge gap between the powerhouses who have mastered the universe's tribulation realm and those who do not. This can't be calculated. If you fight in the universe controlled by the Lord of the Universe, you will fall as many as the Three Tribulations realm. In his dojo, the Lord of the Universe is almost invincible. This also made Jian Wushuang very interested in his own thought universe. If the universe of his thoughts can become the real universe, it can be an abnormal dojo. By that time, wouldn't he be invincible directly below the Four Tribulations realm, and even rival the Four Tribulations realm powerhouse? Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang couldn't help but get excited. He is still an emperor now, and the realm of the universe has not yet been truly completed. Once he lights up a whole universe in the original Starry Sky, I am afraid he will be able to display the real universe. Continue to practice? This is obviously wrong. No matter how generous the real spirit is, it is impossible to give him all the treasures. Still have to go out and do it on your own. 65 floors. Jian Wushuang easily opened up a cave. It's just that this time there is no desolate beast. He really wanted to kill another head. Now the origin of the beasts and god soldiers can be as good as entering the origin level of the universe, and they are still a bit weak. It is not as powerful as the half-universe in his body. Forget it, find it by yourself later. Jian Wushuang shook his head. This time he was satisfied. After opening up the cave, let the second soul stay behind, and the deity went to the 60th floor. When Huiqing and Shang saw him, their eyes were full of colors. At this moment, even the relatively dull Huiqing had a resilience, and wanted to surpass Jian Wushuang's resilience. In fact, Jian Wushuang was the same as them before. You reading www.akanshu.com. Remember when he was in the court of the Three Kings, he saw Huiqing's success in joining the Tao, wasn't he envious? Seeing Shang's strength and rivaling Fui Ego's recovery, he is even more yearning. Now that he has succeeded in harmony, not only has he surpassed them, but he has also opened a great distance. The strong road is right. Jian Wushuang's heart is extremely firm, and he will keep going. In congratulations, the three had a good chat. This was the first time I had chatted with Shang. Jian Wushuang learned about the secrets of the primitive universe from the other side, and also learned a lot about his personal thoughts. As for the travel to other time and space, he did not say. After all, the true spirit has no quasi-trust. Wouldn't it be embarrassing if the real spirit didn't agree to it after all? Just when the three of them were about to enter Huiqing's cave and recount their old feelings, the true spirit came, and the sword did not move. True spirit transmission, the three went to the top of the mountain together. This made Jian Wushuang very happy. Explain that it's really moving. Perhaps it was his strength that moved the true spirit, or the true spirit had confidence in them. In fact, from Jian Wushuang's point of view, Shang had a good temperament, and he was a perfect inheritor. It is also a strong man of righteousness. The unity of knowledge and action is a true gentleman. Huiqing doesn't need to say more. In terms of personality, he has some stains on the contrary. After repeated betrayals, the true spirit can believe him, so much trust. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang's heart was moved. In order to restore the glory of the Temple of Qi, it is my duty. Regret in the pavilion. When the three of Jian Wushuang arrived, there were already several people waiting here. The backbone Luo, who was originally ranked third, the Emperor Guangying who ranked fourth, and Jian Wushuang's old acquaintance, Zhen Weiyang. Chapter 56-46. 6 people were standing, and only true spirit was sitting alone. It's just such a thing, you all go back and think about it. This time there are no more than 10 people going to another time and space, and you must never tell anyone. After the real spirit finished speaking, everyone dispersed. But Jian Wushuang was left behind. I knew about this when I went back, and made a decision in my heart. It was very easy. Other people are different. Especially the older generation of powerhouses in the primitive universe. Zhen Weiyang and Shang. The two of them took a great look at the time and space of the outside world, especially the primitive universe. Feeling that the real spirit asked them to go to other long rivers of time and space, this is a naked escape. There is hesitation in my heart. However, the backbone of Luo and Guangying are very relaxed. They just consider the gains and losses and don't care about the outside world. Actually, it's right to think about it. They don't have much feelings for the outside world. After coming to the Temple of Qixin, I just wanted to be stronger, but didn't even think about giving back. Otherwise, the outside world will be like that, and the two will not go out. The business is closed, otherwise he will go out. The deity of Zhenwuyang has been conquering the outside world. There is also the Tongtian Buddha, who has not even left the avatar, and is now commanding 16 universes from the outside world, fighting head-on with the Temple of Destruction. These talents are the backbone of the future. No wonder the real spirit hesitated. It is also for this reason. In case of raising a white-eyed wolf, it's not good. Only the two of them were left, and Jian Wushuang was not polite, and sat down directly. Zhenling even poured tea on Jian Wushuang himself. Thanks, Tusk. Taste it, this is the tea of your time and space. I don't know when I want to drink it in the future. That's also true. After Zhensong, Jian Wushuang and the others left, I'm afraid they won't be able to return without tens of thousands of eras. Ordinary tribulation realm simply doesn't work. At least the 3 tribulations realm or even the 4 tribulations realm can play a certain role. The current candidates are all seedlings of the tribulation realm. The opportunity has arrived. It's not difficult to become a catastrophe. But how far you can go depends on your own ability. In fact, in the long run, practitioners like Zhenwuyang and Tongtian Buddha can actually go farther. Because of its strong adaptability. This is why Zhenling was particularly optimistic about Shang at first. Too bad is not good, because the road is difficult to follow. Just like Jian Wushuang, Dao Jun can kill Zhu Ding, how defying the sky. But then I think about it, Hui Qing, the backbone Luo and others of the same era, before Jian Wushuang combined with Dao, were already the best. That is, Jian Wushuang won the bet, Hadao succeeded and surpassed everyone. If the harmony fails, I am afraid that the strength is not as good as these people. The risk is too great. There are very few opportunities in the future, but I will definitely do my best to come back as soon as possible. Jian Wushuang said firmly. Whether it's for the homeland universe, or this long river of time and space, or it's because of the power of death. He has to face extinction and cannot escape. This is fate. Zhenling still had some confidence in Jian Wushuang, and was not afraid that Jian Wushuang would really run away. How much do you know about extinction now? Zhenling asked tentatively. Since the birth of extinction, there is actually very little connection between the two. But in the cave mansion of the Mahayana Lingshan, Jian Wushuang went to the once fragmented Morwa time and space and saw a lot. Only then can we understand the extinction. Jian Wushuang didn't conceal anything, and now said the power of death and the power of life. He felt that the reason why this matter was so complicated was not only because of the power of life, but also because of the gods. It's just not easy to say. If the extinction was purely for him, I'm afraid he would have been annihilated long ago. That will wait till now. After hearing this, Zhenling nodded slightly and sighed. Have you seen the future of this long river of time and space? As soon as this sentence came out, Jian Wushuang jumped. When subconsciously wanted to shake his head, he was stunned. Zhenling waved his hand, and on the case in front of the two, there appeared a time and space origin, and a time and space origin that had been shrouded in darkness. This long river of time and space will eventually perish. This is the prophecy of a strong man. Jian Wushuang was stunned when he heard this sentence. At first he thought that the true spirit could see that he had traveled to the future, but he did not expect that someone had predicted the changes in the future time and space. This long river of time and space will be destroyed. Destroy the Temple of Qi together. Seeing the shocked look on Jian Wushuang's face, Zhenling smiled slightly and said, Of course, you don't need to believe in the prophecy of that existence. When Jian Wushuang entered the future time and space, he was convinced that in the future world, he failed in harmony and eventually fell. As for the subsequent destruction of time and space, he didn't know. But being able to see the future failure, He felt that there might be some connection. Is this existence the power of the Qixin Temple? Jian Wushuang asked curiously. The Lord of the Universe can do this by predicting the future. The first true king at the time also predicted the future of the Three Kings' court. Unfortunately, it is impossible to predict and accurately meet some people who are against the sky. This is also the reason why Jian Wushuang is able to join forces successfully. Really want to predict so accurately, you reading www.ukanshu.com he may have failed. Isn't this, except for me, there is no such superpower in the Qixin Temple, and even the original body is not so powerful. Zhen Ling gave a wry smile and shook his head. If there is such a strong presence in the Temple of Qixin, how could he be so passive? Jian Wushuang frowned slightly and asked, then this senior, why does he help Qixin Temple predict the future? Since the other party predicted that the Temple of Qixin would be destroyed in the long river of time and space, it must have some connection with the Temple of Qixin. Otherwise, this kind of thing will not be thrown out for no reason. Just like now, suddenly came an existence that he couldn't see through, and told him directly that he would become a powerful person in the Nine Tribulations realm in the future, so he definitely didn't believe it. Speaking of it, it doesn't have much to do with the Temple of Qixin, but I have some personal acquaintances with the master of the palace Xuani, so I am willing to tell the other party. No need to say more about Zhen Ling now. Jian Wushuang understood a little bit. No wonder the Xuanwu Temple and Qixin Temple are a bit incompatible. It turns out that after listening to the words of an old guy, he was ready to run away in advance, and he didn't even think about returning to the Qixin Temple. Zhen Ling seemed to see Jian Wushuang's thoughts, and quickly corrected. Xuanwu Temple is actually not easy. The family property of these years has almost been wiped out because of the appearance of extinction. Outside the battle, the Shrine of Extinction has holy water to help practitioners perform sacrificial rituals and enhance their combat power. Qixin Temple is a puppet of Xuanwu Temple. Only then can I barely suppress the opponent. If Xuanwu Hall ran away, Qixin Hall would now fall below. I believed in this prophecy before, but after seeing you, I changed my mind. Zhen Ling said, standing up. Previously, he had thought that the one who destroyed this long river of time and space was the inheritor cultivated by his Temple of Qixin. Chapter 56-47. Now he realized that after extinction was born. It is extinction. He is the real murderer behind the scenes. As for the inheritors, they will destroy the long river of time and space because of the extinction. This is the real root problem. So it is necessary to solve the extinction. As for the inheritor, it doesn't matter anymore. The Temple of Destroying the World also has inheritors, maybe they are from the other side. Don't worry about him. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged and didn't ask any more, but fell into silence. Predicting the future, able to be so accurate, who is that existence in the end, has reached that state again. By the way, do you have any suitable candidates to talk about? The construction of the space-time channel is about to begin. No more than 10 people are enough. Zhen Ling turned to look at Jian Wushuang, pulling the topic away. The destruction of time and space is still somewhat depressing. Jian Wushuang raised his head and looked at the true spirit. He really had a few suitable candidates. How about Wu Zhuo? After hearing Wu Zhuo's name, Zhen Ling was stunned. Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang would mention Wu Zhuo's name. For a while, Zhen Ling took a deep breath. He couldn't think of it. He would come up with the name Wu Zhuo, looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise and said, "Why do you think of him?" It just feels that this person is not simple, has mediocre strength, but can become a named disciple of the gods, and has lived from the ancient times to the present. This is the only ancient practitioner who has not fallen apart from extinction. After hearing Jian Wushuang's explanation, Zhen Ling's heart also moved. I haven't really thought about this issue before. Wu Zhuo was able to live to the present, even drifting through the endless starry sky with Qixin Temple, and came to this long river of time and space. None of them fell. This luck is also great. Don't look at it, now Wu Zhuo has bad luck and can't even get along with a palace lord. But across the long river of time and space, at least if it is a strong robbery realm, Wuzhua is a superb, able to live to this day. It is a bit abnormal. List him as a candidate. Jian Wushuang nodded, and then continued, Wan Yen and Dongxing should also be sent over. This time Jian Wushuang changed his mind and didn't want to get all those super inheritors over. It's better to cultivate some loyal ones. Don't get a group of selfish people, he won't be able to direct then. Now Dongxing and Wan Yen are both good at strength. Dongxing has become the absolute powerhouse, catching up with the first batch of emperors who entered the temple of Qixin. Although they are not as good as Zhen Weong for the time being, they also have great potential in the follow-up. I will send their deity here, and there will be some tests for them in the follow-up. Jian Wushuang naturally didn't have much opinion on this, and everything was decided by the true spirit. He just gave a suggestion. Plus some people on the Tomb God Mountain, it's almost enough. Jian Wushuang said. Huiqing, Backbone Luo, Guangying, Zhenming, Tongtian Buddha, Shang, Dongxing, Wanyan, Wuzhua. Plus Jian Wushuang, exactly 10 people. After a while, I will put them in a targeted test, and it's up to them whether they can pass. Zhenling did not give Jian Wushuang a quasi-trust either. But this has made Jian Wushuang very satisfied. At least it wasn't that he went to a strange time and space alone, with some people accompanying him. By the way, I have one more thing left behind you this time, and I need your help. Zhenling looked at Jian Wushuang and said his plan. After Jian Wushuang heard it, he clapped and applauded. The odds of winning, plus 10%. Resuscitate the gods. The second era after Jian Wushuang ascended to the 65th floor of the Tomb Mountain. In the Tomb of the Gods, a stalwart figure appeared that was a body in the Tribulation realm. Climbed out of the tomb and stood in the chaos of the Tomb of the Gods. Mischief. Jian Wushuang spent a whole epoch, consumed countless life force, and finally revived the body of Qixin. The true spirit also took advantage of the trend to enter the body of the gods. The figure keeps shrinking until it reaches the size of 10,000 battles. Jian Wushuang stood in the chaos, like a grain of sand. Compared with the Qixin's body, no matter its strength or size, it was far worse. With this physical body, I will be able to break the rules of the Qixin temple and go to the long river of time and space. Qixin said excitedly. The previous true spirit could not leave the temple of Qixin at all. Now that there is a true spirit behind the body, not only has its strength skyrocketed, it has reached the half-step 7 tribulations realm, and it can also enter and leave the temple of forbidding at will. The worry about extinction has also been reduced a lot. At the same time, feel confident that Jian Wushuang and others can travel to other time and space. It's not that he is too careful, but that he knows one thing very well. There is vitality in Jiangshang's body. Perhaps the extinction can reach the perfect body without Jian Wushuang. In this way, death and life are combined to achieve the pinnacle road. Congratulations, sir, I have been born again. Jian Wushuang looked tired, but there was joy in his heart. He couldn't let him carry it all alone. Now that the true spirit has reached the half-step 7 tribulations realm, it is indeed a big hole card for dealing with extinction in the future. In the current extinction, it is not known that the true spirit has revived the body of the god. At that time, you can be caught off guard. Wrapped the Qixin's body, and then received the body, the true spirit looked at Jian Wushuang and smiled. This time thanks to your vitality, otherwise even if you exhaust all the treasures of the Qixin's temple, you will not be able to revive this body. This is true. Jian Wushuang's strong life force would take an epoch. It is conceivable how much life force is needed to restore the Qixin's body. The treasures of the temple of Qixin are dead. Jian Wushuang is alive, and can continuously generate life force. It's just a matter. Jian Wushuang shook his head. This little help is nothing. In this epoch, he continued to give birth to the power of life, and he was able to take the opportunity to hone his manipulation of the power of life, which was regarded as killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Zhenling raised his brows and his complexion changed. A breath came from the Tomb Mountain. Jian Wushuang saw that something was wrong, and at the same time looked in the direction of the Tomb Mountain. A new breath rose to the sky. That is the power of Tribulation Realm. Someone broke. Go Go take a look. Zhenling's eyes narrowed even more this time with a smile. Who says that good fortune comes, misfortune never comes singly? This time, it was not just double happiness. The two of them instantly descended to the top of Tomb God Mountain. In the 60 floors below, a beam of light rose into the sky, and there was a figure in it. Business. After feeling the breath of the other party, Jian Wushuang was not too surprised. Shang's first breakthrough, which is the same as they guessed. There is no surprise. However, in this way, I am afraid that Shang will not be able to enter other time and space with them. This breath immediately shocked many people. One after another came out to watch. Chapter 56-48. At this time, on the 60th floor, besides Shang, there was one more person, Wu Zhuo. Since Jian Wushuang proposed to take Wu Zhuo to other time and space, the true spirit tested them and brought Wu Zhuo to the Tomb Mountain to practice with the inheritors. Unexpectedly, Wu Zhuo's potential really gave Zhenling a surprise without hitting it, and he actually reached the 60th floor. As for Hui Qing, she has now reached the 65th floor. Become a neighbor with Jian Wushuang. The speed of the breakthrough made Jian Wushuang feel a sense of suffocation. No loss is the first inheritor. The light beam covered the entire Tomb Mountain, and after a stick of incense, it slowly disappeared. Shang also walked out from the cave. The strength of the body has changed a lot. In congratulations, Shang followed the true spirit to the top. Jian Wushuang returned to his cave. This time he revived the body of the Godhead, and his soul was exhausted, and it was time to rest. The next step is to prepare for going to other time and space, not to be careless. As for Shang's breakthrough, Jian Wushuang didn't feel the pressure, so it's not as great as Hui Qing's pressure on him. Even if Shang breakthrough has become a tribulation realm, it feels to him that it is not as powerful as the ancient temple that has not been transformed. The ancient temple that was killed at the beginning was the pinnacle of the first tribulation realm before its transformation. Even the power that rivals the three tribulations realm. This is not his opponent, let alone Shang. Now that Shang has broken through, he lacks a spot, and he doesn't have a suitable candidate, so he doesn't even consider recommending it. Leave the headache to Zhenling alone. Lying comfortably on the stone bed in the cave, Jian Wushuang slept for a whole year before returning the power of his soul to its peak. During this year, the true spirit also transmitted to him whatever treasures he needs. Even if he mentions it, he is satisfied with everything that can be satisfied. And the time of departure has been determined. 300 years later, they gathered in the Hulun Mountains in the heavens. Jian Wushuang was a little surprised by this. It wasn't that the true spirit was so generous, but that he wanted to go to the heaven. He thought he would be in the tomb of God. But it's nothing, you can arrive in one day. Phew. Jian Wushuang casually crushed the sound transmission jade slip, stood up and moved his limbs. At the same time began to calculate the treasures that are missing now. After he joined the Tao, he hadn't practiced well, and the realm that should be improved had not been improved. There are indeed a lot of treasures missing. In the realm, even if there are treasures, it takes time to cultivate. With only 300 years left now, Jian Wushuang would naturally not cultivate in the universe. Instead, he chose the divine body. The appearance of the ancient temple made him yearning for the powerhouse of the divine body route. In particular, I have seen records in some ancient books that many of the early days of the long river of time and space were flow of gods. What if the long river of time and space where he went is also popular with the flow of gods and bodies? Wouldn't it be exposed to use the source? Therefore, the divine body route cannot be abandoned. Although there are many treasures needed, for the strong, as long as the strength is strong, there will be no shortage of treasures. After taking his attention, Jian Wushuang took out the identity token in the Tomb God Mountain and told the true spirit all the treasures he needed. When Zhenling sitting on the top of the mountain saw the treasure Jian Wushuang needed, his eyes were round. He was not generous at first, and finally he was generous once, but he still calculated carefully. There are only 300 years left, and if these people ask for it, how much can he use? Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang would be so cruel, suddenly demanding 100 million cubic cosmic crystals of the divine body treasure. That is a treasure worth 100 million square meters. It is not easy for a robber realm expert to come up with so many cosmic crystals. These treasures are enough for Jian Wushuang to cultivate the divine body to 100,000 times. He didn't believe that Jian Wushuang could cultivate a body to 100,000 times in 300 years. At the same time, the 10 candidates selected this time are all the treasures of the gods. Even Hui Qing, who is honest, has chosen the treasure of the gods. They are not stupid, they only have 300 years, and there is no shortcut to improve other strengths except for the promotion of the divine body. Forget it, it's time for you to practice it. Zhenling shook his head distressedly. However, he still didn't want to suffer. The deity left for the primitive realm, looking for the lord of the god of wealth, Zhu. In a short while, the current embarrassing situation was resolved. On the Tomb God Mountain, in the super teleportation array, the 9 people came together, causing many people around to watch. So far, the strongest inheritors of the Tomb Mountain have actually appeared together. This is an unprecedented grand occasion. Had it not been for the business breakthrough, I am afraid it would be 10 people together now. Brother Wushuang, it seems that the hero sees the same thing. Dong Sheng laughed loudly from the side. Among these 9 people, apart from the backbone Luo and Guangying, they all have a good relationship with Jian Wushuang. A few people chatted at random, and people directly opened the teleportation array. The true spirit asked them to go to a secret realm in the primitive world, where there is a natural divine body treasure that can enhance their divine body. This brought everyone together all at once. At the same time, the true spirit also informed them by sound transmission that there is a strong man who went with them to other time and space, is waiting for them there. This made Jian Wushuang very curious about who would go to other time and space with them. He knows a little bit about some famous inheritors in the temple of Qishan. I'm afraid there are not many people who can enter the real spiritual eye. But there will be an answer soon. 9 people descended, primitive world. The familiar breath came over. When I entered the temple of Qishan for the first time, I entered this place. Dianxian entered the primitive world, and Yenxian entered the Xuanwu Hall. The emperor went to the Azure Dragon Palace. Everything seems to be yesterday. As soon as the 9 people arrived, a familiar figure came to greet them. Many people knew each other, and there was no need to introduce them, so I took them directly to that secret realm. Primitive realm is somewhat similar to the Great Wilderness, and both are relatively desolate. When the group flew a stick of incense, they arrived at the secret realm that Zhenling said. It is a secret place in the mountains and forests. When looking from a distance, there is nothing special. But when I felt it up close, they were all shocked. This mountain forest is not as simple as it looks. It's supernatural power. Jian Wushuang was the first to discover the strangeness. The secret realm here actually has supernatural power. It is very similar to the original divine power universe. It is an excellent place to enhance the divine body. Zhu Qi stopped his figure and said, "There is a sacred spring in the mountain forest secret realm. You only need to absorb the power from it 10 battles away. If you are too close, you will eat back the sacred body." After speaking, he turned and left. Several people glanced at each other and rushed down without hesitation. The special divine power draws them. Go directly to the core of the mountain forest. The spring is deep in the forest. Chapter 5649. At this time, there was already a person sitting cross-legged. The 9 quickly found a place to fight, forcibly tore through the space, and instantly entered a damp cave. Seeing that someone had arrived, the practitioner who had been sitting cross-legged also opened his eyes. A pair of phoenix eyes contained red flames. "Who are you?" Except for Wu Zue, everyone else was surprised and asked in unison. Only Wu Zue stared at the other side, with a trace of fear in his eyes. Because he knows the person in front of him. I thought it would be an inheritor, but I didn't look like the other party. I have never heard of such a powerful female nun on Tomb God Mountain. A blast of flame power swept in instantly, except for Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing, They all took a half step back. These people are not vegetarians. The other party dares to do something. Can this be used to her? When he raised his hand to fight back, Wuzwa stopped them, and at the same time revealed the identity of the opponent. She is Fan Feng. When they heard this name, the 9 people instantly understood. Jian Wushuang frowned when he heard it. Fan Feng, the head of the 18 generals. They had all heard of this name, but they didn't expect that this time Zhenling would arrange for such a character to follow them. Wuzwa did not speak, but just nodded. In addition to the title of the head of the 18 gods, the other party also has another identity, that is, the sister of the great Emperor Jueyun. But this, only Wuzwa and Jian Wushuang knew. Fan Feng didn't even look at Wuzwa, but at Jian Wushuang, and then said coldly, "Have you pulled out her sword?" It seemed that the sister of the great Emperor Jueyun was at odds with the great Emperor Jueyun. There was hostility towards Jian Wushuang in his eyes. It is precisely because of this that Jian Wushuang is a bit unpleasant to the other party, and he is also cursing secretly in his heart why Zhenling made such a thing to give them. He looks like I am not our enemy forever. I don't know if I think the other party is a god. The name is not loud, but the shelf is quite big. The other few people were not very interested in Fan Feng, the head of the 18 gods, and they found a place to sit cross-legged, preparing to upgrade their gods. Wu's was said through a voice transmission, "Brother Wushuang, or let's join forces and kill this lady first." What a joke! She is the person arranged by Master True Spirit, not to mention killing the other party just because of some small things. I am not a born murderer. Jian Wushuang replied in an angry voice transmission. But for this Fan Feng, he really didn't like it. Only after a faint answer he ignored the other party. I hope the other party will not do anything, or the leg will be interrupted by her. What about the head of the 18 gods? His current strength is not weaker than the great Emperor Jueyun back then. The great Emperor Jueyun back then was able to match the Lord of the Universe, and he could also do it. This Fan Feng's strength is almost meaningless. Moreover, this person must be reported to Juxian, and his mind is very small. According to Wuzwa, these two are also rivals. Of course, it could also be that Wuzwa was beaten violently by the opponent. The head of the 18 gods, this in the original Morwa time and space, at least can be ranked in the top 3 of the Emperor. Where is Wuzwa's opponent? Had it not been for him to stand by, I am afraid Wuzwa would not dare to breathe when he saw the other party. So that, now it is about to cultivate, Wuzwa is close to him. He didn't care about this. This time, traveling to another time and space, he still needs the help of these people. Naturally act as the leader. But among them, some people may not convince him. For example, the 2 old guys Zhen Weiyang and Tong Tian Buddha. Don't look at it as one universe, but these 2 people's minds are not good. So Hui Qing and Wuzwa can be trusted completely. Dongxing and Wan Yan are also good. Had friendships. At that time, he will fully support him. In this way, there are 5 people on his side. The other few people can't get through the waves. Phew. Just sitting down cross-legged, Jian Wushuang felt a divine power attack, and his swallowing power instantly enveloped the opponent and sent it into his body. This place is really extraordinary. At a distance of 10 battles, almost one breath would have a rush of divine power for him to absorb. It's just that he thinks the speed is a bit slow. The rest of the people absorbed it for a while, and they were able to feel it clearly. This speed is far from enough. Looking at Fan Feng's side, it was only 5 battles away from Kuan Yin. Brother Wuzwa, what do you think? Jian Wushuang asked tentatively. Wuzuo's divine body is 70,000 times larger, and I am afraid that the supply and demand of divine power is too slow at this distance. It's a bit slow. Wuzwa replied directly. At this moment, the 9 people got up at the same time and walked forward one after another. It seems that Zhu Qi doesn't know much about his strength, so he will say that within 10 battles, he will have a backlash against them. They all believed it at first. Among these 10 people, Fan Feng's divine body is the most powerful. At least 80,000 times. The second is Wuzwa. As for the others, including Hui Qing, they are about 60,000 times the same as Jian Wushuang. It was 6 times that of Jian Wushuang. Among these people, they all belonged to the bottom. Dongxing has 60,003. Thinking of the ancient temples back then, you reading www.akanshu. When Com said 180,000, Jian Wushuang couldn't help taking 2 more steps forward with the invincible breath. Stayed directly at a distance of 5 battles. Hui Qing also followed. Anyone who can be at this distance needs a strong person who can transform very quickly. Although Wuzuo's divine body was powerful, the speed of transformation was a bit slow, and he stopped after only 6 battles. No reluctance. It was the backbone Luo, who refused to admit defeat and walked the distance of 5 battles. The continuous divine power attack made his complexion turn purple, but after a while he still endured it. Regarding this, Jian Wushuang smiled from the bottom of his heart and ignored it, but began his own immersion practice. In one day, Jian Wushuang raised his divine body almost 100 times. It really helped a lot. If you are outside, not only will the speed be slow, but you will need more treasures. The divine power here is more pure, and when absorbed, the speed of absorption without impurities is also very fast. 10 years later, now all 9 of them can reach the distance of 5 battles. Fan Feng, the arbitrarily determined general, had reached a distance of 3 battles. The power of the opponent's divine body made them dumbfounded. It has been nearly 90,000 times faster, and the speed of improvement is not 1.5 stars faster than them. Among the 9 of them, the one who has improved the fastest is the Tongtian Buddha, who has only increased by 5,000 times in 10 years, and his divine body has reached about 70,000 times. As for Jian Wushuang, although the transformation and absorption were fast, his promised divine body required too much divine power, only increased by 3,000 times. But this is just the beginning, so the speed of promotion is a bit slow. The later, the faster his speed will be, until it surpasses everyone. This is the benefit of the promised divine body. Chapter 5650? Phew. But it didn't take long to give Jian Wushuang now, he had to go faster. So I can only go forward and get close to the fountain. Jian Wushuang, who opened his eyes, stared at Kuan Yin for a while. He found that there was no spring water in the spring. Although it was covered by mist, he could still see that it was an empty abyss. After staring for a long time, there will be a feeling of dizziness. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to look more, so he could only transmit his voice to Wu Zue and ask if he knew. Unexpectedly, even Wu Zue didn't know. This made Jian Wushuang a little curious. But now he can't get close, so he can only continue to devour it. As he approached Sanjiang, Jian Wushuang's divine body began to multiply as he swallowed his divine power with all his strength. At the time of Dao Jun, he was able to reach 50,000 times. The emperor, with the help of beasts, can explode to 100,000 times, and it is not the limit. In the extreme state, he can burst out 120,000 times the divine body. In other words, both his physical body and divine body can bear it, so that the boundaries of his basic divine body can also be raised to that level. It's just that there are too many treasures needed to upgrade to that level. Zhenling will also feel distressed. A tribulation realm powerhouse of the divine body genre, the treasures needed can support several origin tribulation realms. Moreover, he was about to leave the Temple of Qixin, and he could only look for treasures to enhance the divine body in other time and space in the future, but at that time, he was no match for the Temple of Qixin. Therefore, he has to work hard to improve, as much as he can improve, anyway it is free. The power of the beast god. Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and a dark red aura burst out of his body. Instantly shocked everyone present. The rest of him is okay, knowing that he has beasts. Fan Feng looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. She didn't expect Jian Wushuang to have a candle dragon. But the next moment, her breath also changed abruptly. A familiar breath rushed to his face. Phoenix is one of the 9 beasts. It is also made by a born beast god. But Jian Wushuang was not surprised. The opponent had beasts and gods. In ancient times, he had news about the soldiers of the beast gods. In order to get Zhulong together, he didn't read ancient books much. However, the beast weapon created by the phoenix is not a beast weapon that augments the divine body, but a beast weapon that is incarnate with the body. The reason why the opponent's divine body was so powerful in the emperor's time might also have something to do with that beast weapon. Otherwise, if the emperor wants to reach 90,000 times the divine body, it is not that simple. After Jian Wushuang exploded with the power of the beast god, the speed of devouring even accelerated. 300 years, 1/3 has passed, and Jian Wushuang's divine body has finally reached 70,000 times. At the same time, he also reached the distance of only one battle, becoming the closest one among all the people present. Although the walk is faster, but the improvement of the divine body is not the fastest. It was the backbone Luo. His divine body was a pair of withered bones. From the beginning 65,000 times, in 100 years, it directly rushed to 80,000 times. Everyone was surprised. Jian Wushuang and Fan Feng have beasts and magic weapons, and they can improve quickly. Jian Wushuang wanted to smash the opponent's divine body to pieces to get a good understanding. Of course, just think about it. Finally see it. There is another reason why Jian Wushuang has been slow to improve, and that is because he is curious about what kind of treasures in this cave can burst out so much divine power. So he was mainly to adapt to the absorption of divine power and continue to move forward, and did not concentrate on absorbing the divine power. After approaching the cave now, he glanced down. With just a glance, Jian Wushuang felt a violent force, which instantly invaded his eyes. The pain instantly made him lose his mind, and he retreated 100 feet to the back. This scene frightened everyone. Wu Zue and Hui Qing quickly put down their practice and rushed over. "Brother Wushuang, what is going on?" Hui Qing stepped forward and asked in amazement, "Is there some kind of creature in it?" Jian Wushuang felt that his head was deep and his eyes were tingling. He couldn't open his eyes at all. He could only close his eyes and shook his head, unable to speak. Wu Zue put his arm on Jian Wushuang's shoulder and said, "It should be a backlash. After a short rest, it will be fine." "Ha!" Fan Feng sneered, disdainfully said, "What a fool, just like my stupid sister. Don't you know that there are forbidden things to watch?" Hearing the other party's ridicule, Wu Zue's expression was cold, but he did not dare to speak back. But Hui Qing was not afraid, stood up and looked straight away, and said angrily, "Just forget it if you don't remind. Why bother to be so mocking?" "Huh, a bunch of idiots. I really don't know. What's the use of training you natives?" Fan Feng closed his eyes after mocking a few words. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. He didn't think it was stupid. When in doubt, check it out. This is the way of the strong. If you are blindly timid, is afraid, how can you become a strong one? So there is no need to bother with each other. After seeing Jian Wushuang okay, Hui Qing and Wu Zue also went to their places to continue practicing. But Jian Wushuang was away from Baizhang and began to recover from the injury caused by the backlash. He has the power of life. Even if it is a powerful backlash, it only takes the time of a stick of incense to recover. After recovering, he suddenly found that his eyes had changed. Seeing through at a glance, with supernatural power. His eyes actually contained more than 100,000 times the power of the divine body. How is this possible? Jian Wushuang himself couldn't believe it. He just glanced at the cave and then was bitten back. But after the restoration, it gave him more than 100,000 times the divine body. Although only the divine body of the eyes has reached 100,000 times, it is constantly being distributed. He raised the divine body 1,000 times in just one day. I understand. Jian Wushuang's face leaked joy, and he stepped forward and approached the cave directly. This scene surprised Fan Feng, not because Jian Wushuang approached the cave again, but because she discovered that Jian Wushuang's backlash had disappeared. The backlash faded in just one day, which was too fast. Even if you have a restored treasure, it will take at least 100 years. Originally, she thought Jian Wushuang would waste this opportunity for nothing, but she didn't expect to be able to recover again, and once again reach the edge of the spring. Wu Zue and others looked at each other and smiled, not surprising. But when Jian Wushuang looked into the cave with his head hooked again, his jaw dropped in shock. As you can imagine, Jian Wushuang was shaken back again, but this time Jian Wushuang saw something vague. Unlike last time, I didn't see anything. Chapter 56-51. This shows that his power has become stronger, and if he keeps repeating it, he will be able to see exactly what is hidden in the cave. Although this is not important, it can help him quickly improve his divine body. This time Jian Wushuang only took a few breaths to repair the backlash of the divine body and return to the peak. The power of the beast god. Jian Wushuang let out a low growl, and the divine body soared to 100,000 times in an instant. The burst of divine power instantly swept the people nearby. Apart from Fan Feng, this force is familiar. This force burst out when Jian Wushuang was fighting against the ancient temple. Fan Feng was not surprised at this. The emperor was able to use the power of the beast within the beast gods, and it was normal. It's just that Jian Wushuang's power of the beast can increase by 20,000 divine bodies, which surprised her a bit. This ability to manipulate has already exceeded the robbery realm. She didn't know that Jian Wushuang had the origin of all things that belonged to Jian Wushuang in the origin of Jian Wushuang when he merged with the beasts. The current beast soldier and Jian Wushuang are like one body. Naturally, it is much stronger when used by others. After Jian Wushuang exploded, he stepped to the cave again. This time, many people have reacted. Every time Jian Wushuang is backlashed, he will quickly upgrade his divine body, which is more than they can sit and absorb for several years. And the recovery is fast. Wu Zhuo and Hui Qing knew that Jian Wushuang had the power of life, but the others didn't. The backbone Luo Ken was itchy, stood up before Jian Wushuang could go first, and reached the edge of the cave first. But before he stretched his head to see the appearance in the cave, he was overthrown by a huge force and retreated beyond 10,000 battles, unable to stand up for a long time. Fan Feng sneered, but no one came forward to check the backbone. Several people who were still eager to try stop this idea. I think Jian Wushuang must have some ability to quickly get rid of backlash. What a lucky little guy. Tong Tian Buddha looked at Jian Wushuang with kind eyebrows and continued to absorb his divine power. Among the 10 of them, they all have double cultivation. The original realm is very high, there is no need to pursue too much of the divine body, of course, it is like this kind of free opportunity, and naturally you have to take it well. Everything depends on one's own good fortune. However, Jian Wushuang had a soft spot for the divine body. At the beginning, the physical body was refined to perfection, and even the origin and the divine body were combined, in order to one day be able to make the divine body first class and reach the peak. The source is strong, that is the matter of the source. The divine body can't direction either. When Jian Wushuang was at Daojun, he had survived several difficulties with his divine body. He will not forget the importance of the divine body. Jian Wushuang, who came to the edge of the cave, looked down at the cave again. This time he saw more clearly, and the vague figure below was a skeleton. A golden skeleton. The terrifying power contained above was filled with Jian Wushuang's body, and the backlash was extremely terrifying. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth and stared at him, while the divine body continued to explode, directly using 3 times the power of the beast god. Let his divine body increase to about 140,000 times. The divine body surpassing the limit caused Jian Wushuang's body to tremble. If there is no such shock, he can use the power of the beast 3 times as much, and he can give full play to his strength. But now that it has been severely affected, it can only barely support it. Countless divine powers poured into his body. The original star sky, half of the universe that was lit, had more than 5,000 black holes, and at the same time swallowed that violent divine power. At this moment, Jian Wushuang's body was used to its extreme, and its operation reached its peak. The divine power absorbed was enough for Jian Wushuang to break through 100,000 times the divine body. But he still didn't take a step back, but want to enter the cave. Jian Wushuang looked carefully at the skeleton, and he was familiar with the aura above it. The skeleton lacks an arm, a golden skeleton, where it stands, like a sky. A touch of phantom made Jian Wushuang a little dazed. Dongjun. The owner of this skeleton is Dongjun. Those human races encountered in the starry sky. In Morua time and space, The desolate god lord got Dongjun's inheritance and Dongjun's arm. Jian Wushuang knew Dongjun's aura very well. How could his bones be here? Jian Wushuang was puzzled. The desolate god lord he saw at the beginning only obtained a section of Dongjun's arm and the stone axe. This skeleton appears here. I am afraid it has nothing to do with the desolate god, but is related to the of disagreement. Right now, Jian Wushuang had no intention of devouring those divine powers, but wanted to ask the true spirit, the origin of this skeleton. Dongjun was beheaded by extinction. This skeleton is here. I am afraid there is a certain connection with extinction. Just when he thought about it, a terrifying force instantly rose out of the cave, and Jian Wushuang was also knocked out very far by this breath. The rest of the people were also shaken back hundreds of battles. The divine power that soared quickly withdrawn, and then disappeared. When everyone looked again, they only saw a one-armed skeleton suspended above the cave. Extinction, Jian Wushuang said in horror. The power of death, all the divine power erupted by the golden skeleton into the skeleton. And the phantom on the skeleton is the appearance of extinction. Jie Jie. I knew you were going to run. I've been waiting here for a long time. Mieshing clenched a fist with one hand, and the power of death instantly swept everyone, and then transformed into an unmatched divine power. This is just a clone of extinction. The strength is not very strong, but the opponent can manipulate the golden skeleton. The strength is different. These people, who don't even have the ability to directly see the bones, how to deal with the extinction of manipulating the bones. Jian Wushuang didn't hesitate, and when he discovered that it was extinction, he transmitted the sound to the true spirit. It's late. Mieshing manipulated the golden bones and shook his head. A divine power barrier suddenly rose up all around. The power of the enchantment was simply not something Jian Wushuang could destroy. Even if the true spirit came, it would take a lot of effort. At this time, you reading www. There was a simmering sound from outside of Ukanshu. Calm. Jian Wushuang knew that the true spirit had arrived. It's just that the two of them have cut off their voice transmission because of the barrier. I just don't know how long it will take for the real spirit to break the barrier. The current extinction, manipulating the golden skeleton and using that divine power, even if they are added together, they are not opponents. The rest of the people just stabilized their bodies, and when they heard Jian Wushuang's words, they were all taken aback. Destroyed temple. Zhen Weiyang took the lead in guessing something. The others also suddenly realized. Fan Feng had just recovered, but he didn't understand the matter of extinction. At this time, he exclaimed, "Small carving skill, you dare to get an axe at the door of the Temple of Qixin, aren't you afraid of death?" "Thanks, Tusk, let me see who this is." Mieshing slowly turned his head, looked at Fan Feng, and a purple light burst into his eyes. Chapter 56-52. That beam of power surpassed 150,000 supernatural powers. It directly penetrated Fan Feng's head. Everyone was shocked. The previously injured backbone Luo couldn't help but retreat to the edge of the barrier. The strength gap is too big. The divine power of extinction and manipulation of the golden bones can at least explode beyond 200,000 times the divine power. Much stronger than the ancient temple. Jian Wushuang was seriously injured at this time, and the backlash, like a brand, remained in his body for a long time. Even the strong vitality, constant cleaning, can't be removed. Everyone, Master True Spirit needs a stick of incense time. As long as we resist the other side, we can live. Jian Wu's double-faced color is low, and while removing the power of backlash, he comforts everyone. Zhen Weiyang clenched his fist and whispered, "Is it time for a stick of incense?" He said he was ready to do it. They are all top inheritors with a face, and it is impossible for them to just admit their fate. We'll definitely make a move. Fan Feng, who had just recovered his head, came to Zhen Weiyang's side and said coldly, "Don't rush to do it. His strength is not as simple as you think. We will all die if we don't join hands." After discovering that something was not right, Fan Feng did not stand up, but chose to join hands with everyone. But among the 10 people, Jian Wushuang and the backbone Luo were both injured and couldn't help Mang at all. The The strength of Dongxing and Wan Yen is too weak. Among the remaining people, only Hui Qing, Wu Zue, and Fan Feng were fairly strong. It wasn't that Jian Wushuang looked down on Zhen Wuyang and Tong Tian Buddha. The strength of these two people was still far behind. At most, it is comparable to the general Tribulation Realm. If you want to fight with the Tribulation Realm powerhouse, your current strength is not enough. If you are scared, you don't have to do it. Zhen Wuyang's words were arrogant. This made Jian Wushuang a little anxious. Only he knows the terrible extinction. Don't be careless, she's right, everyone is going to die if you don't join hands. As long as you stick to the incense stick, Master True Spirit will break the barrier. We just have to withstand it. Jian Wushuang hurriedly spoke. It's just the time for a stick of incense, which he guessed. If you don't give these people some confidence, they can't hold it. Now it seems unnecessary. Zhen Wuyang and the others are not without confidence, but because they are too confident. Jian Wushuang drew out a mass of life force and threw it directly at the backbone Luo, shouting, "Next!" A group of green power flew towards the backbone Luo, which made the greed in the eyes of Daixing even more triumphant. The next moment, he shot directly and rushed towards the backbone Luo. The speed is so fast that it surpasses everyone's imagination. The backbone Luo just froze for a moment, and saw the terrifying face of extinction and the powerful aura spread over it. Just when he felt that what was going to be finished, the extinct body was frozen on the spot. I saw an extra figure behind Miesheng. It was also the only strong one who caught the extinct figure among all the people present. Click. Hui Ling squeezed Miesheng's ankle, shouted, and directly threw Miesheng out of 10,000 battles. The golden flames that erupted from Hui Qing directly surpassed extinction. "It's you who robbed my disciple." Hui Qing's figure rose into the air, looking down at the extinction, with an extremely domineering attitude. Everyone couldn't help taking a breath. Unexpectedly, Hui Qing would be so powerful now. Jian Wushuang couldn't help but exclaim. The divine power just extinct was at least 200,000 times. Hui Qing was able to suppress the opponent. The current extinction has only a little power of death, but it possesses into Dongjun's bones, and can mobilize the divine power in the bones. However, the clone of extinction has limited strength and has not been able to mobilize much. This made Jian Wushuang worried. If he hadn't been attacked by extinction, he would be able to deal with it at his peak state, but now he was injured and he was not an opponent at all. Unexpectedly, at the critical moment, Hui Qing stood up again. Miesheng stood up from the ground with difficulty, staring at Hui Qing in the air. Her eyes changed in shock, and she shot instantly. Boom! This time, the divine power exploded from extinction was more than 250,000 times. Obviously, he is constantly getting acquainted with this body. A flash had already arrived in front of Hui Qing, with only one arm extinct. The hand knife slashed towards Hui Qing, and at the same time a huge purple thunder burst out of his eyes, facing Hui Qing's chest. Jian Wushuang's strength recovered a lot, and he quickly reminded, "Be careful." At this time, Wu Zue and others also exploded in strength, soaring to the sky, going to help. Dong Sheng and Wan Yen were persuaded by Jian Wushuang to come back. He can still see through the strength of these two people. It's just an ordinary pinnacle, and going up is to die. It's better to protect him here. The backbone Luo was astonished, absorbing the life force sent by Jian Wushuang. The backlash on his body disappeared instantly, and at the same time, the backlash was transformed into divine power, and the divine body directly exploded 90,000 times. When I saw the death in the air, his eyes were full of killing intent. The figure flashed into the air, and he tore off the shattered clothes at random, leaking the bones of his upper body. Ah! The backbone Luo clenched his fists with both hands and shouted angrily. The breath on his body suddenly changed, and his eyes became sharper. Jian Wushuang below looked in his eyes, a little surprised in his heart. It seems that everyone has a chassis. Backbone Luo should have used some kind of peak secret method, and also the peak secret method of the divine body flow, instantly making the divine body 100,000 times. And also broke out along with the origin, directly possessing the power of the tribulation realm. also joined the battle group. Not only was Jian Wushuang surprised, but even Extinction was also shocked. Why is there so much power in the Tribulation Realm suddenly appeared in the Temple of Qi? Forget Fan Feng, the head of the 18 gods, he already knew the details of the other party in ancient times. But now, even among the inheritors he has never looked at, they have such a heaven-defying peak, and they can actually burst out the power of the Tribulation Realm. Especially Hui Qing burst out with the power he imagined. It was even more terrifying than the Jiang Shang he had taken away. At the beginning, he just thought that Hui Qing with Jiang Shang was extraordinary. Now it seems that he was wrong. It is precisely because of Hui Qing's difficulty that Jiang Shang has the power to fight against the sky. Boom! Extinction broke out again, directly shaking everyone apart. 250,000 times the divine power already had the combat power of the three tribulations realm. Even if Hui Qing and each of them had the combat power of the first tribulation realm and even the second tribulation realm, they could not be opponents of Extinction. Go and die. A golden light burst out from all over Mishang's body. 250,000 times of supernatural power, all exploded. Speed and power doubled. The figure flashed and came to Wu Zhuo, with one knee on top, a cloud of purple thunder in his palm, instantly severely wounded Wu Zhuo and fell from the air. End of this chapter. Chapter 56-53. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang's life force caught Wu Zhuo in time. Otherwise this time, Wu Zhuo must fall. Wu Zhuo, who had recovered from his injury, backed away in an instant, fearing Extinction would target him again. The strength of Extinction now, once it targets someone, someone will fall. This time it was Jian Wushuang in time, but it won't be easy to say next time. Seeing Wu Zhuo flying around again and again, Miexing had not only greed in his eyes, but also a murderous intent in his eyes. This is going to be true. That trace of killing intent keeps getting bigger. The Buddha Tong Tian felt the most real, and the Buddha light on his body broke out again, and a mighty universe came instantly, wrapping everyone together. Tong, leave it to me. Zhen Wuyang nodded to Tong Tian Buddha. The two seemed to have some kind of cooperation. The Extinction who was excluded was about to attack the universe cover, but found that the pale blue universe cover had shrunk in an instant and only wrapped Zhen Wuyang alone. Thanks, strong body, I'm going to see how powerful your divine power is. Zhen Wuyang roared, heaven and earth eclipsed. The huge real martial arts came, that was the face of Zhen Wuyang himself. At this moment, Zhenwu was right in front of him. The real Wuyang, who was transformed into a tens of thousands of battles, resisted the punch of Extinction alone. This makes the Extinction somewhat unexpected. What was unexpected was not how powerful Zhen Wuyang was, but the universe cover, which was able to block his attack. That was a punch with 250,000 times the supernatural power. It was actually blocked. Fan Feng stood by, his eyelids trembling constantly. She was once the top 3 ultimate emperor in Morwa time and space. How could so many people surpass her after recovering in a blink of an eye? Now Zhen Wuyang's strength has surpassed her. There is also Hui Qing, and the universe cover displayed by the Tongtian Buddha. Originally thought that resuscitating her was to save the predicament. Unexpectedly, there are so many people who are stronger than her. The long-lost sense of oppression in my heart made her haggard again. She could not forget the period when she was suppressed by the great Jueyun in ancient times. It's just that the great Emperor Jueyun at that time was too powerful. Already rivaling the Lord of the Universe, that is the powerhouse of the three tribulations realm who has mastered the universe. It was much stronger than the Extinction of possessing and entering Dongjun's bones now. This made Fan Feng's heart very uncomfortable. I thought that the strong people in the past have fallen, and how she should be the first person who would have thought that now even the top 3 can't get in. Although the universe cover is strong, it can't stop the continuous attack of Extinction. 200,000 times the supernatural power is not that simple. The next moment, the universe cover began to crack. Zhen Wuyang's breath also began to decline. With just 2 breaths, Zhen Wuyang couldn't bear the attack of Extinction. With a punch, even if his true martial art has reached the level of the universe, he still can't stop it. Miexing raised his hand, stretched out the palm of the skeleton, and began to gather divine power. A group of hot purple electric lights appeared in the palm of his hand. From the size of a fist, it instantly expanded to the size of 10,000 battles. The power contained in the upper part caused everyone to take a breath, and the color of fear was leaking out of the face. "Everyone must die!" Miexing shouted, and directly smashed the purple electric light down everyone. Although he didn't know whether Jian Wushuang's incense stick was true or false, he knew that this was the temple of Qixin, the chassis of the true spirit. It will change later. These people must be dealt with quickly. He could feel that Jian Wushuang's strength was constantly rising. If you don't solve these people, wait for Jian Wushuang to recover, and it will be even more difficult. Jian Wushuang, now after the success of Hadao, is extremely terrifying in strength. No one knows if the strength displayed on the Tomb God Mountain is full. Extinction dare not delay. The purple electric light got out and blasted directly at the crowd. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank, knowing that if he didn't make a move this time, all these people would definitely fall. Others, forget it. But now among these people, there are Huiqing, Wuzhua, and Zhen Weiyang. These people must not fail to fall. To travel to another time and space, these people still need to roam together so that they can deal with extinction. Can't just watch it like that. Phew. Although Jian Wushuang's strength has dropped a lot now, he can't make a shot himself, but he still has a Guantian chessboard. With countless pawn-sized chess pieces above, he recovered hundreds of them. All have the perfect combat power. Now it comes in handy. Among them, there are several strengths that are comparable to Tribulation Realm. Go! Jian Wushuang pointed out. The phantom of the Guantian chessboard descended, and more than 100 bodies above began to tremble, and then opened their eyes. Block him! Jian Wushuang issued an order. Without any hesitation, these recovered chess pieces rushed towards the purple lightning. It's like fire fighting the fire, not regretting death. With the obstacles of these chess pieces, Zhen Weiyang and the others began to retreat one after another. But the power of electricity is so simple. All the chess pieces were destroyed, and the remaining power still shook everyone to death. Even Huiqing was seriously injured. Huiqing now has the power of the second Tribulation Realm. Apart from Jian Wushuang, he is the strongest person. But now everyone has done their best. They are not opponents yet, and they have been seriously injured. Although Miexing was surprised by Jian Wushuang's methods, he didn't think much about it. Jian Wushuang caught this point. He thought that extinction would know about the Guantian chessboard, but he didn't seem to know it. Although the first true king said that no one knew that he was the treasure of time and space, the extinction was an old monster that crawled out of the heavens. Teacher Xuani is in the future. The extinction is in the past. Since I don't know the existence of Guantian chessboard, I am afraid that the methods are not as clever as Teacher Xuani, and the strength is naturally worse. This also made Jian Wushuang a sigh of relief. Although it was a half-step 7 Tribulation Realm on the surface, Jian Wushuang was not sure that the opponent didn't have any whole cards. You know, Miexing killed Dong Jun. Dong Jun's breath, in Jian Wushuang's view, was probably not weaker than Qixin. At least it was the 7 Tribulations realm, even stronger. Of course, when Dong Jun was beheaded, the extinction was still in the heavens, and the extinction at that time was much stronger than it is now. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate at this time, but stood up. This time, either he will die or these people will live. Or die together. Yu reading www.akanshu.com. It's better to be a hero. Jian Wushuang stepped forward. Dong Sheng and Wan Yan wanted to stop them. Although their strength was preserved, Jian Wushuang needed Jian Wushuang to help them resist the purple electro-optical aftermath, and it was useless to go up now. Jian Wushuang. Extinction. The two faced each other, and the next moment, Qixing shot directly. The corners of Jian Wushuang's eyes trembled. He didn't say a word yet. Why did he start his hand? This hero is also a little aggrieved. Boom. Hardly resisting Miexing's palm, Jian Wushuang retreated 100 feet, a powerful divine power still gathered on his chest, which remained for a long time. End of this chapter. Chapter 56-54. If it weren't for the beast god soldier to absorb and resist, I'm afraid he would be seriously injured this time. Extinction? I'm very curious. You have calculated me several times and you really want to kill me. Why should you not take my origin? Jian Wushuang was very curious. This extinction stared at him. He understood that. After all, it can swallow his life force. He is the greatest opportunity for extinction. But he has been shooting in the temple of Qishan. He is really going to fall, even if the source is swallowed by the extinct law body. How can he retreat? After Mieshing heard it, he didn't explain, but continued to take action. No opportunity for Jian Wushuang to delay time at all. As long as I can kill you, I can retreat with my whole body. You don't need to worry about this. In fact, you should be proud to be one with you. Then you and I will become the master of this starry sky together. Have fun. Mieshing laughed frantically. After hearing these words, everyone couldn't help but look at Jian Wushuang. Obviously, they don't know these things. Jian Wushuang frowned and said coldly, "Why don't you let me swallow you, and the entire starry sky can be given to you, would you? To swallow the source is to swallow the source. There is no such thing as a unity. Listen to my advice. Your strength is too weak. The starry sky is very deep. Even if you swallow my death power, you can't hold it. If you don't grasp it, it's not what you said." Jian Wushuang lowered his eyebrows. A violent life force burst out instantly. All the backlash from his body was removed. The strength instantly returned to its peak. Jian Wushuang took a breath, and when he looked at Daixing, a smile leaked from the corner of his mouth. "It seems that you are reluctant to say something useful." Jian Wushuang stared at Daixing, but the aura on his body exploded to the extreme. The ultimate under normal conditions, now also has the pinnacle of the one tribulation realm. The power of life, after he became the emperor, especially after helping the true spirit to revive the body of the god, became extremely powerful, not as weak as the extinction imagined. He just wanted to test the details of extinction. Since the other party's mouth is so hard, before he left some fear for the other party. Let Mieshing know that when he leaves this time, when he returns again, he will exceed the cognition of Mieshing. The next time he returns, he will surely behead the opponent, swallow the power of death, and rise to the top. Ever ancient. Phew. A cold wind suddenly blew in the suppressed space. The blowing extinction is a little uncomfortable. When he was at Daojun, he peeped into the power of the starry sky, but he couldn't recognize the death. But now Jian Wushuang was able to truly use this terrifying starry sky power. His face was full of shock. Change. Jian Wushuang looked up to the sky and roared. His figure suddenly changed drastically. The breath on his body has also changed color. Instantly promoted to the peak state, and directly promoted the peak state to the extreme. No one knows how powerful Jian Wushuang is now. If the ancient temple of the frozen demon race appeared in front of him, he would have the confidence to kill the opponent's soul with a single punch. There was a trace of blue electric arc in the light blue arrogance on his body. Jian Wushuang's eyes all turned light blue. He turned his head slightly to look towards extinction, and said, "How is it? The strength is not bad." He now has the three tribulations realm, and is even comparable to the master of the universe who masters the universe. The moment the Jueyun sword was pulled out, absolute killing intent broke out. Jian Wushuang at this time stood at the top of the killing. When Fan Feng, who was badly injured, saw Jian Wushuang pull out the Jueyun sword, he was in a daze as if he saw the shadow of a peerless emperor from the ancient times. Zhen Wuyang and Tong Tian Buddha showed incredible glances. At the beginning of the Tomb Mountain, they only saw Jian Wushuang fighting against the ancient temple from a distance, and did not feel the killing aura on Jian Wushuang. When I felt it up close, I couldn't help but trembled. Where did Huiqing stand, looking at Jian Wushuang excitedly, as if everything had returned to the scenes of the fleeing from the Great Famine? Jian Wushuang once again saved the world. This is the power of the stars. Mieshing couldn't believe his eyes. Jian Wu had no expression on both sides, but nodded coldly. The power of the starry sky on him has been condensed into reality, but compared with the power of life, it is not his original power. After all, he hasn't lit up the starry sky yet. Lighting up the starry sky, what is cultivating is the origin, and he has no time to cultivate these years. However, in the future he is confident to light up his own starry sky, and will not use the power of the stolen starry sky. Ha! Miexing gritted his teeth and made a low muffled sound deep in his throat. The power of the stars. He has seen it but has never used it. That is a level of power related to reincarnation, time and space. Jian Wushuang didn't become that kind of existence, but he mastered this kind of strength, which really surprised him and jealous. Why does this power not belong to him? Even if you have mastered the power of the starry sky, you are still an emperor, an ant that was ravaged by me. Miexing gave a furious rage and shot directly. But now Jian Wushuang had already pulled out the Jueyun sword. Even if the extinction exploded with 250,000 times the divine power, it would not be his opponent. Starry Sky Catalog. Jian Wushuang was not accustomed to the opponent's problems, and directly used the strongest sword. At this moment, the barrier began to collapse. It wasn't the true spirit that broke it, but the power erupted from the Starry Sky Catalog, crushing the barrier into a piece of paper, and it was broken with a poke. As for the extinction of possessed golden bones, it was directly shot out of the source of the law body, and the extinction of the golden bones was lost. It was just an ordinary extinction that could block the sword. Exit! Jian Wushuang slashed with a sword. The source of extinction was instantly turned into powder. As for the golden bones, they have lost a trace of golden light now. This is the first time Jian Wushuang has used the star catalog since he became the emperor. Even he himself didn't expect to be so powerful. He directly destroyed the source of the dying body, and even the golden skeleton was slashed by his sword, losing a trace of golden power. Jian Wushuang held the sword in one hand, panting. If it is an ordinary move, he can use the Starry Sky swordsmanship and can still fight for a while, but the strongest sword in the Starry Sky catalog, even if he becomes the emperor, it will still be a heavy burden on him when using it. Suddenly drained the power of the stars in his body. Even the eternal changes couldn't be maintained for too long, and they went straight back to normal. At this time, the true spirit also slowly flew over. After feeling that the aura of extinction had disappeared, he sighed in relief, but the killing intent in his eyes did not recede. How can you allow others to sleep soundly on the couch? This is not the first time. Zhen Ling kept calculating in his heart, and when Jian Wushuang was sent away, he would launch an all-out war against the Temple of Destruction. End of this chapter. Chapter 56-55. Since I don't think about it, don't think about it. Jian Wushuang and the others are his backs. No matter whether they succeed or not, they can give him a thought. As for the others, he can't control so much, he can only fight. It can't be delayed any longer. Otherwise, too much time is given to extinction, and there will be changes in the end. Zhen Ling waved his hand and directly recovered all the injuries on everyone. This is the origin that mobilized the Temple of Qixin. Jian Wushuang's breath also recovered, but the power of the Starry Sky could not be recovered. At least let Jian Wushuang rest for half an hour before he can completely restore the power of the Starry Sky and use the strongest means. Since the life-killing law body has disappeared, you should continue to practice here. This time I will protect you personally until we go to the heavens together. Zhen Ling said solemnly. Everyone was flattered, and after thanking them, they returned to practice again. Jian Wushuang knew what the true spirit meant. This was to prevent these people from revealing the matter of extinction, which was to protect him in disguise. For this, Jian Wushuang is naturally grateful. Miexing obviously came for Jian Wushuang. If this matter is known by other inheritors, if you can't hold it that day, let the true spirit surrender Jian Wushuang. Then it will be troublesome. Although the true spirit can suppress it at will, if it loses its majesty, then it's really over. Convincing power is the first. Sitting cross-legged around the golden skeleton, everyone once again upgraded their divine body. Without the shelter of the cave, they were far away this time. Jian Wushuang is the same. Although Jian Wushuang's divine body had reached 80,000 times now, he still couldn't get close. He originally wanted to ask True Spirit about Dongjun's affairs, but when he thought True Spirit would ask him why he knew Dongjun's affairs, that would be bad. There are some things it is better not to say more. Jian Wushuang practiced honestly. After this battle, everyone's views on Jian Wushuang have also changed. Although I know that the extinction is for Jian Wushuang. But when looking at Jian Wushuang, there was no resentment, more jealousy in his eyes. Especially Fan Feng and the backbone Luo. Although on the surface he dared not make times before Jian Wufang, but at the bottom of his heart was very jealous. Fan Feng, in particular, was so jealous when he confronted Emperor Yun that his sisters did not agree. In fact, it was all because of her careful eye. This kind of person is the most terrifying. 100 years have passed by in a hurry. In the blink of an eye, it's time to start. On this day, everyone stopped practicing. Because the true spirits have already set up a teleportation formation here, ready to move them directly to the tomb of the gods, and then go to the heavens together. After the 10 people stepped onto the teleportation formation, the true spirit was not in a hurry or slow. Under Zhu Qi's eyes, he put Dongjun's golden bones into his mustard seeds very smoothly. Ahem, that little Zhu Qi, help me tell your housemaster, he'll take away the mountain and forest's secret realm too. Before Zhu Qi could reply, he jumped into the teleportation formation. The next moment, the teleportation array burst out with dazzling light, and instantly took the entire mountain and forest secret realm into the tomb of the gods. No wonder they were asked to go to the tomb of the gods first, and then to the heavens. Feelings are for this secret mountain forest. Jian Wushuang was okay, he was used to it. That's how the original Moyne Mountain was obtained. Although other people are surprised, they dare not reveal disrespect in the face of the true spirit. Follow me to the tombstone. Zhen Ling beckoned, and led the crowd from the top of the Tomb God Mountain into a passage. It's black in front of me. When they appeared again, everyone had arrived at a huge dojo. This is the Kishin's dojo and the place where the tombstone is located. It was originally planned to be opened in the near future, but the tombstone has not been dug out, and it has to be delayed for a while. Zhen Ling explained as he walked, leading everyone to the core of the dojo, below the Faxiang of the gods. Jian Wushuang and others raised their heads to look at the gods. Jian Wushuang had known the face of Qishan for a long time. He even touched the body of the body how many times, so he was very calm. There is no surprise. Others are different. When the Tongtian Buddha and Zhen Weiyang were faced with the physiognomy of such a powerful person, they bowed their heads for the first time, and then bowed their heads, not daring to look directly. Wan Yen and Dong Xing, these two are also similar, and after shock, they are also pious. However, among the younger generation, I can't help but look up and down. The true spirit went to the place where the incense burner was placed and lighted himself a few incense sticks. Fan Feng, the head of the 18 gods, fell to his knees, tears streaming down, but he did not dare to make any noise, for fear of disturbing the cleanliness of this place. 3 great gods, 18 gods, 108 messengers. The Divine Master won't say anything. They are all 6 Calamity Realm powerhouses, and their strength is terrifying. God generals are different, just like messengers, they are all superb. But each of the gods is the ultimate emperor. They are the closest people to Qishan, and Qishan treats them like children. When these gods will see the face of the gods, you reading www.akanshu.com will naturally reveal sadness. Seeing this scene, I found that Fan Feng was not so annoying. After making a few sticks of incense, I inserted the incense burner at will. Seeing Fan Feng, who was kneeling on the ground, a gentle smile leaked out. Get up, boy. Fan Feng wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes and stood up respectfully. Then Zhen Ling turned his head and glanced at all of them, with his hands behind his back, and said, "There was once a great existence who predicted the future for the Hall of Uprising. He said that when I got up from the Hall of Uprising, there would be a peerless and powerful person, but this the price of the existence of a bit, but it will be a complete success." In the past, I was very convinced, but after seeing you, I have changed my previous views. I think you all have the opportunity to become that peerless powerhouse. The true spirit said so truthfully, so that everyone's eyes were full of yearning. Who doesn't want to be a peerless powerhouse? As for one's success, it is not oneself who is dead. Here, I wish you all the best, soaring realm, returning to the Temple of Chishan as soon as possible, returning to your hometown, and saving the long river of time and space. Zhenling waved his hand and directly evoked a jar of wine. And in front of everyone, a bowl also appeared. The drinks fly by themselves. Everyone took the bowl and looked at the true spirit with scorching eyes. It's done. Zhenling directly lifted the jar and finished it in one sip. Everyone did not hesitate and drank cleanly. Jian Wushuang grinned, only feeling that the wine was extremely spicy. Not only did it not help the divine body, but it also made him dizzy. Obviously not a good wine. Even the see-off wine, is Zhenling unwilling to offer some good ones? Just as Jian Wushuang vomited in his heart, a mirror-like mirror rose in his mind, and then his body returned to normal. In the mirror, the face of the true spirit appeared. Chapter 56-56. After seeing the true face in the mirror, Jian Wushuang was shocked. Hey, Jian Wushuang. Zhenling leaked a smirk. Jian Wushuang's heart is a little hairy. Why does he think the wine is poisonous? Is he afraid that people like them will betray the Temple of Chishan? But this time, Jian Wushuang had crossed the abdomen of a gentleman with the heart of a villain. Master True Spirit, what is this for? Jian Wushuang asked cautiously. The true spirit peeked out an arm from the mirror and said, "This is a treasure prepared for you. Remember that the treasure must be stored in your own origin space. Otherwise the cost of transporting into other time and space will be more expensive than yours. Arcana is even more expensive." Jian Wushuang quickly agreed, and then took the mustard seed. These are some treasures for them before leaving. After all, in another time and space, no one knows where they will appear. It doesn't hurt to prepare more. This time, the true spirit paid out of his own pocket and took out a part of the treasure from his own collection and distributed it to everyone. Not only was it given to Jian Wushuang, but Huiqing and others also obtained corresponding treasures. In Huiqing's sea of knowledge, Zhenling even took out a crystal ball and handed it to Huiqing. Huiqing, I value you the most. You know this. Don't let me down. You are a pitiful disciple. I know. Don't worry, I will take care of it myself. Zhenling said sincerely, but I wish I was in my heart. Shang is finished sooner. After hearing Zhenling's words, Huiqing's eyes flushed red, but she felt a little bit reluctant. Along the way, Zhenling really took care of him a lot. He never dared to forget. Returning from school will surely repay you. On the other side, Zhenling also said similar things to Wu Zue. Wu Zue, you are the disciple of my deity. Although you are not the strongest, you are the only disciple surviving. Don't lose my face. Don't come back if you don't become a catastrophe. Remember, it's important to save your life. This sentence made Wu Zue instantly think of the original master. Although the number of meetings is very small, he remembers the words of the master instructing them every time, just stay alive. Wu Zue's face trembled, and he said with emotion, Master teaches that disciples never look at each other. If the Temple of Chishan enters a crisis again, Wu Zue is willing to be the first to die in battle. He was supposed to be in the time and space of Molo, but now the lingering life makes him forget how beautiful it was once. High-spirited is a teenager. Why don't you look back suddenly? He will definitely live up to the glory of Chishan Temple in the past, let alone shame Master. Outside, everyone's expression is very heavy. Zhenling glanced at everyone, his face sank and shouted, "Go!" Ha! The crowd rose into the air, tearing the sky away and leaving the tomb mountain. From the tomb of the gods, all the way without words, went straight to the heaven. Along the way, there is no stay or reluctance. The northern boundary of the heavens, above the mountains. Among the 10 temples of the gods, the most outstanding inheritors have arrived. There are already people waiting for them here. The real spirit wants to control the big formation, so there is no way to send them personally. Only the master of the palace, Xuani, greeted them here. There are more than 1,000,000 messengers around, and there are super messengers with supreme combat power. It is the strong puppet of Xuani Hall. Everyone follow me. The hall master Xuani didn't talk nonsense, and directly led everyone into the depths of the mountain range. Jian Wushuang looked around and felt a majestic power. Other people also feel it real. Hall master Xuani did not forget to popularize them and explained, the time and space channel opened this time is the long river of time and space at the core of the starry sky. Relying on divine power as the main force, supplemented by the origin, you may not be used to this just now. Divine power is the main. Jian Wushuang was very surprised. The origin is the right way. How can there be someone who majors in divine power? Hall Master Xuani saw Jian Wushuang's doubts and continued, the starry sky is strange and unpredictable, everything is possible. If there is a major in the source, then there is a major in divine power. Go in. Palace Master Xuani stopped, pointed to the dark abyss in front, and said to everyone, this place is just the entrance to the turbulent flow of time and space. In the turbulent flow of time and space, there is a formation that can help. You travel through time and space, remember, and collect all foreign objects into the original space, otherwise don't blame me for not reminding you if you lose it. The true spirit had already informed them about this, and had already included the treasure into the source space. Now Jian Wushuang has only one set of ordinary clothes on his body. There are no treasures. Everyone stepped into the abyss without hesitation. Jian Wushuang looked back, and at the last glance, he froze in the dense jungle, and then entered the abyss. After everyone entered the abyss, they were a little uncomfortable at first. Because it is a turbulent flow of time and space, it is dangerous to enter the tribulation realm, not to mention them. Fortunately, the real spirit has cleared all the dangers in the turbulent flow of time and space. They just feel a little uncomfortable physically, but fortunately there is no danger. Before, it should be the passage of time and space? Wu Zhuo reminded everyone. Jian Wushuang also followed his gaze. There was a circular passage in the distance, and the aura exuding above was not divine power, but the life force that Jian Wushuang was familiar with. This surprised him a little. Time and space channels containing the power of life. Unfortunately, his realm is limited, and he has too little understanding of time and space, and he doesn't understand it. Now everyone has come close. When the time came without thinking about it, they entered directly one after another. Before entering, Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing agreed to enter together one after another. It is best that they can appear together. Time and space channel, I don't know where to send them to that long river of time and space. It is even more troublesome if they cannot be transmitted together. So everyone has long left their own secret codes. After going to another time and space, all the titles used were his own names. If you go in and you can't figure out the direction, you will call your name first, and then find a force on the spot to stabilize it first. When everyone is there, we will explore together. Even if you don't want to explore together, get in touch in advance. You can't fight on your own, and when no one can find it, you will be in trouble. Wushuang, Huiqing, I will go in first. Tong Tian Buddha and Zhen Weiyang entered the space-time channel together. Then came the backbone Luo and Emperor Guangyi. Fan Feng didn't say much, and flew in behind the two of them. Brother Dongxing, you must be careful with Brother Wanyan. Jian Wushuang exclaimed. Watch the two enter. Finally, Wu's was started, followed by Hui Qing, Jian Wushuang behind. All have entered the space-time channel one after another. Seeing Du Huiqing also walked in, Jian Wushuang took the last breath of the long river of time and space, and flew in resolutely. Chapter 56-57. There was only a breath of time when Mingming and Huiqing and the others entered, but no one could be seen in the passage. Jian Wushuang could not understand the space and time in the space-time channel, and it was not surprising. Flying all the way. It's like entering a black hole. Jian Wushuang flew, suddenly felt that his realm was falling continuously. This surprised him. And the power of life is declining very quickly. What's going on? Jian Wushuang panicked suddenly. Not only the realm has plummeted, but even the strength is constantly losing. Soon Jian Wushuang fell out of the emperor realm. Become a Taoist. Without the power of the stars, all the power of life is lost. Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank, and his strength fell into this way before he walked out of the space-time channel. It was a question of whether he could maintain the immortality after he went out. This is not easy. If he lives in the wilderness and has no combat power, how can he live? But now halfway away, it is impossible to turn around and leave. Jian Wushuang could only bite the bullet and continue to move forward. The realm keeps falling, and the original space in the body has turned into a pole, completely sealed. Jian Wushuang is not even Yenxian anymore. Become immortal again. As he walked at this moment, there was a light in front of him, followed by the power of death rushing toward his face. Jian Wushuang felt bad, thinking that he was destroying life again. But without waiting for him to react, the whole person has fallen into a deep sleep. In the dream, he entered another world. He wandered about with strength and saw a magnificent river of time and space. 9 days and 10 places, it's so spectacular. Unfortunately, the next moment, this long river of time and space suddenly shattered. Jian Wushuang was in a daze and saw a goddess. She was wearing a red fairy dress. Her face was beautiful and suffocating. I saw this goddess stepping barefoot into this long river of time and space. 1 step a day, 9 steps are taken, and a 9-color sky is achieved. 1 step and 1 breath. It was the 10th breath at the time of stay, leaving 10 ancient land in secret realm. While staying, Jian Wushuang stared at his eyebrows and saw the other persons look back. At that glance, he didn't dare to breathe. This is a peerless power that creates a long river of time and space. Jian Wushuang was completely frightened. This celestial lady was just an emperor when she first entered this long river of time and space. But with every step taken, a catastrophe is achieved. After 9 steps, he is already a superpower in the 9 tribulations realm. After 10 breaths, it is invincible. How domineering! But in a blink of an eye, the body of the goddess was also shattered. Only 9 days and 10 places are left. After Jian Wushuang finished reading it, he was also led by an invisible force and entered the Gumu continent among the 10 places. The ancient woodland is full of vegetation. When Jian Wushuang's consciousness entered Gumu continent, he heard a voice vaguely. "My dojo, you dare to enter." Jian Wushuang was frightened and clever, and when he looked back, he saw a familiar figure that blocked the person who spoke for him. "Hui Qing." Jian Wushuang couldn't help but shout out. But Hui Qing didn't pay attention to him, but confronted the goddess. What Jian Wushuang didn't expect was that Hui Qing really stopped him. What's the situation? The other party is a celestial lady who has completed the 9 tribulations in 9 steps, able to create the power of the long river of time and space. Hui Qing actually stopped the opponent. The key is how Hui Qing will appear. He didn't see the consciousness of other people, only Hui Qing. At this time, the others also saw the scene that Jian Wushuang saw just now, and when they were blocked by the goddess, they were all blocked by Hui Qing. For a while, everyone was extremely curious about Hui Qing's identity. But then, that attraction sucked everyone into 9 days or 10 places. Jian Wushuang's consciousness had descended on Gumu continent. Yu Kingdom, Qingyanzong. Wu family. Ticking. The sound of water droplets in his ears awakened Jian Wushuang, and he was very uncomfortable to wake up. When he just wanted to look up, he felt the severe pain in his chest and the fatigue that came in an instant, making him unable to open his eyes. He is injured. After Jian Wushuang understood, he wanted to mobilize the power of life to recover, but found that he was now not even talking about the power of life, even the origin of the special element was gone. "Master, you are awake." A sweet voice came, causing Jian Wushuang to shiver. This voice, the eyebrows were almost to the bones, making people tremble all over when they heard it. The key is this young master, is he calling it? Why did he become a master? Obviously coming from other time and space, there should be no acquaintances here. Just when Jian Wushuang was puzzled, a strange memory suddenly struck in his mind. Wu family's child Wushuang. Great Vietnam. 7-star sect, Qingyun sect. A series of unfamiliar messages were accepted by Jian Wushuang. He also recognized the owner of the voice at this time. Su Meyer. Jian Wushuang uttered a voice of disgust in his throat. That is his personal servant girl. But according to what I knew from that memory, this maid was not a good person. He also knew how the injuries came from. With strong willpower, made Jian Wushuang stand up from the bed and pulled the maid Su Meyer into his arms, and then restrained her neck like suet jade with one hand fiercely. Said, "Who sent you here?" Su Meyer was strangled and couldn't pass through. Her face was full of horror. The bottom of my heart was even more surprised. Why this trash master dared to attack him? He is a Daoji cultivator, and he still can't break free. Guyu time and space. The realm of cultivation is very different from the time and space where Jian Wushuang is. It is divided into acquired, congenital, Daoji, Vientian, Yuanshan, Mahayana, immortal, emperor, and tribulation realm. This long river of time and space, with a long time, is stronger than Morwa time and space, and the practice of practice is more perfect. There are few realms divided, and immortality alone encompasses the realms of Yenxian, Dianxian, and Daojun. The maid whose neck was strangled by him was a Daoji monk, and his body was just an ordinary congenital monk. The age is even less than 18. Only 17. But now the strength that is not weak to Daoji has burst out. How can this not surprise the maid Su Meyer? Master Wushuang, I am Meyer. Su Meyer still wanted to quibble. But Jian Wushuang was very decisive, holding Su Meyer's face with one hand, and said coldly, "If you don't tell the truth again, I will tear your face." Su Meyer's face changed from unbelievable to fear. She could feel that this young master seemed to have changed and was different from before. If she kept concealing it, she might really tear her face. I said, "Young Master Meyer will tell you everything." Jian Wushuang pushed her away and walked off the bed. But the tear in his chest made him almost fainted. Touched his chest, it was all blood. Chapter 56-58. When I look around, my eyes are all flowers. But also vaguely saw this dilapidated room. The Wu family, the Yu country can be ranked in the top 10 big family. It is famous for its swords, and even has a Wu family sword tomb with the strongest sword of the Yu country above it. Jian Wushuang was born into such a family, but luck was actually good. Unexpectedly, he was framed just after being reborn. In his mind, he learned the memory of this body. As a child of the Wu family, he naturally uses swords, but his natural cartilage is unable to cultivate magical power at all. Although the pill was piled up to become an innate monk, his supernatural power is not as good as the acquired monk. Slowly the family gave up on him. If this is the case, it is actually good. But what he didn't expect was that the stepmother of this body was scorpion-hearted. It was good to him at first, maybe because he was just a trash. But in an accident, the stepmother Chen Qingxian discovered a prototype of a sword bone in his body. Sword bone? That is a born sword embryo. With sword bones, it can be said that those who are nailed to the plate will become immortal. Moreover, he will master the ultimate kendo and become the most defying swordsman. It was precisely because of this sword ancient fact that Wu Shuangcai couldn't practice supernatural power. Because most of the repaired divine power has entered the sword bone, and has been nurturing the sword bone. The glory of Wu Jiazu gave birth to a man with a sword and bones. Wu Shuang is second. People with sword bones, the supernatural power cultivated in their childhood, will enter the sword bones. This is why Wu Shuang was scolded as waste. Sword bones need a lot of treasures to condense and form. After Chen Qingxian learned about it, he went all out to cultivate Wu Shuang. Although the Wu family was a little puzzled, they all admired Chen Qingchuan's character. She was Wu Shuang's stepmother. There is no need to take care of Wu Shuang in this way. Besides, she also has children. He is a half-brother of Jian Wushuang. But outsiders don't know that Chen Qingchuan's all this is actually for his son. She wanted the sword bone in Wu Shuang's body to be transplanted to her son, Wu Di. Wu Di is only 1 year younger than Jian Wushuang. Just turned 16 this year. When he was a child, Wu Shuang's father, Wu Yong, was very fond of Wu Shuang. After all, he grew up in an orderly manner. But later discovered that Wu Shuang's physique was not suitable for cultivation at all, so he gave up and became more and more indifferent. On the contrary, Wu Di showed extraordinary potential, which made Wu Yong raise his head in the family. Wu Yong's strength is only the realm of Mahayana, and he has not even reached the immortal. Although he is a direct descendant, he doesn't have much power. It was this son that allowed him to step into the middle of the family and become the elder of the family. Wu Di, who was only 16 years old, was already a monk in Vientiane. It's really amazing. Jian Wushuang was also very impressed. He was still an ignorant boy at 16. But these vicious guys actually dug Wu Shuang's sword bones and gave it to Wu Di. This makes him very upset. Although only borrowing this body. But since he was reborn in this body, he must seek justice for Wu Shuang. Wu Shuang and Wu Shuang. It's really fate. Jian Wushuang picked up the kettle on the table and took a sip in his mouth. Looking at Su Meyer, who was crawling on the ground, she said coldly, "Get out of here." Su Meyer knelt on the ground, and Chu Chu stared at Jian Wushuang pitifully and said tremblingly, "Thank you, young master, for not killing me. Chen Qingxian instructed me to do everything. Don't worry, I never kill women." Jian Wushuang waved his hand. Su Meyer was obedient, and under his threat, she said everything. His memory of 3 days ago is very vague, and he doesn't know much. Consistent with the absorbed memory. After understanding the current form, it also stabilized. There is no worry about life and death for the time being. After Su Meyer heard his words, she leaked a flattering smile, got up in a hurry, and was about to leave. Jian Wushuang stared at her back and shook his head. One of the chopsticks on the table was ejected by his finger and directly penetrated Su Meyer's chest. Wu Shuang doesn't kill women. Jian Wushuang doesn't have this burden in my heart. Now he is Jian Wushuang, an invincible emperor who has lived for several epochs and has not yet recovered his strength. How can you be soft-hearted? After solving Su Meyer, Jian Wushuang dragged her corpse into the bed, then sat cross-legged on the bed and began to regain his strength. Now, his realm has fallen too much. Can only barely maintain the strength of Vientiane. This strength is not enough to seek justice for Wu Shuang. Then think again. He can be said to be unaccompanied here. His mother, Wei Qi Mingyue, died early. His father Wu Yong looked down on him. He hadn't seen each other for several years, and he was neither lukewarm nor lukewarm when he saw him. When he was outside, it was even more as if he hadn't seen him. In a world where Wu is respected, especially in a big family like the Wu family, a trash son almost nailed Wu Yong to a pillar of shame. If it weren't for Wu-dis reasons, I'm afraid Wu Yong would not be able to raise his head for the rest of his life. It is for this reason that he is reluctant to face Wu Shuang. Jian Wushuang shook his head and sighed, "Poor child, pity, pitiful." The seedling of the ultimate way was taken away by the vicious stepmother. If he had guessed correctly, it is probably because of Wu Shuang's death that he would enter this body. Reincarnation of the world. Wu Shuang is dead, but his name is still alive. But to add a lost sword in front of Wu Shuang. Jian Wushuang. Phew. After repairing it for a while, although Jian Wushuang's realm dropped a lot, according to the experience of his previous life, he quickly used some of the repaired magical power to stop the blood from the chest injury. Now Wu Shuang, who does not have a sword bone, can cultivate a very strong divine power. It can be regarded as lifted the shackles. A mortal body lives the life of a mortal. Soon 3 days passed. Wu's Haosan. In the courtyard where the female relatives are resting, in a gorgeous manner, Chen Qingxian with a beautiful face is guiding his son's cultivation. "My son, how is the recovery of the body?" Chen Qingxian looked at her proud son in a dozingly. Wu Shuang was not the only one injured in the transplantation of sword bones. At this time, Wu Di was also very weak. However, with the blessing of countless treasures, he soon adapted to the backlash brought by the sword bone. And this sword bone had already achieved consummation in his body. He had a sword eye, but now he has a sword bone. The enemy of Wu in the future, I am afraid, will really become invincible. But he didn't feel too happy. When he looked at his mother, there was confusion and a trace of unwillingness in his sword eyes. He already had sword eyes, and the road to invincibility had been opened. Why go to ask for a sword bone from a weak person? The current Wu Di is still too young to understand or reconciled. Is unwilling to self-esteem. As for Wu Shuang, he didn't take it seriously. Although Chen Qingxian is Wu Di's mother, he still doesn't know what his son thinks in his heart. Chapter 56-59. Mother, I'm fine. Wu Di said indifferently, and only replied softly. Chen Qingxian was very excited, and then said, It's fine if it doesn't matter, you just need to heal your wounds here, there is me outside. The outside world? Wu Di was a little puzzled. What happened to the outside world that his mother said? He didn't have a good impression of Wu Shuang, and he never regarded him as an opponent. Naturally unclear. But Chen Qingxian knew. Even Wu Shuang doesn't know that he still has an uncle. An immortal uncle. Moreover, he has arrived at Wu's house. It's Yu Qi Mingfeng. Chen Qingxian slowly got up, leaning against Wu Di. Wu Di's expression moved, and he was surprised. Is that Mingjiao Tianjiao, Xiaoming Wang Wei Qi Mingfeng? Yu Kingdom has two super sections. One is the Orthodox 7-star sect of Gumu Continent, and the other is Mingjiao. The 7-star sect, the Azure Cloud sect, has the same lifespan as the heavens and the earth, and is said to be related to the goddess who opened up the ancient moon time and space, and has been passed down to this day. It is the first sect of Vietnam. Even the royal family respected King Yunzong. But Mingjiao is different. It is a rising star, although not as long as King Yunzong's history, but the overall strength is not weak. King Yunzong. Xiaoming Wang Wei Qi Mingfeng is one of the few talents of Mingjiao today. This is a big man. Even the Wu family must take it seriously. Although Wu Di was young, he yearned for the arrogant, and he also had confidence in his heart. Unexpectedly, this kind of character is actually related to that waste brother, Wu Shuang. Don't be careful, I have sent your uncle back. Yu Qi Mingfeng is just an immortal after all, your uncle is an emperor. Chen Qingxian was very confident. What about Mingjiao Tianjiao? This is Wu's house. The family of the Yu Kingdom, the super family under the Qinjianmen of the 7-star Zongmen. In terms of background and strength, they are much higher than Xiaoming Wang. After seeing his son, Chen Qingxian hurriedly left. Wujia Guest House. The eldest son of the 3-bedroom of the contemporary Wu family is the uncle of Wu Di, as well as the uncle of Wu Shuang. Wu Qiong is confronting a handsome young man with abundance. Wu Qiong, my nephew is just a concubine from your 3rd room, why stop me? Since you don't take him seriously, why don't you let me take the lead? Yu Qi Mingfeng's tone was cold. He owes a lot to this nephew. When his elder sister fell, he was in retreat. Now the elder sister who has passed away has fallen, and the nephew, who had never met, has also become the laughingstock of the Wu family. He will naturally pick it up. This is his last relative. Even if it is a trash, he has to shelter his whole life. Unexpectedly, Wu Jiaran refused to let him take it away on the grounds of his family's children. This made him never expect. With the Wu family's temperament, it is a slaughter, but it is also a waste of cultivation that can't produce supernatural power. Hopefully, let Wu Shuang go with his uncle. This will also be able to win over a future arrogant. Wu Qiong always smiled, neither sinning nor fulfilling this Xiaoming Wang. Brother Mingfeng, don't worry about my children from the Wu family. Wu Shuang is also doing well in the Wu family. Why are you doing this? It's a beautiful thing to let him spend his life free. Yu Qi Mingfeng had doubts in his heart, and paused for a while and said disdainfully, a lifetime of leisure? If this is the case, he would feel relieved. But a few days ago, there was a burst of heartache, which was a backlash brought about by cause and effect. He felt that something had happened to the nephew, and coupled with the fall of his sister, he hurried out of the customs. Before coming to Wu's house, he inquired about his nephew's experience, and he had already made up his mind to take Wu Shuang away. "Isn't that good?" A voice interrupted the confrontation between the two. It was Qin Qingxian who entered the hall. Yuqi Mingfeng didn't turn his head, but a terrifying sense of oppression broke out. Seeing this, Wu Qiong also changed his eyes. Qin Qingxian was neither humble nor overbearing, walked up to Wu Qiong, gave a polite, then looked at Yuqi Mingfeng and slowly said, "Wu Shuang is not a concubine, but he is also my son in terms of status, so Mingfeng brothers are not worried. Wu Shuang, after all, is Wu." These words are also persuading Wei Qi Mingfeng to retreat. But the other party would give up like this. Wu Qiong also nodded with a smile and remained silent. The confrontation in the hall continued. After 3 days of correction, Jian Wushuang finally recovered his injuries. "Ha!" Jian Wushuang let out a foul breath. Except for his soul, he is just a mortal now. The source hasn't been activated yet, and he can't restore the peak at all. Need to find a helper. Jian Wushuang frowned. If he continued to cultivate like this, he would probably have to live again. But looking for a situation now, how can he have time to live a lifetime again? Slowly cultivate the talent of this body. I am afraid that it will take at least 10,000 years to reach the immortal, that is, to open the origin of the eternal immortal. Even if he has previous life experience, it will take hundreds of years. And also need a lot of foreign objects. He can't wait. Coming to this time and space is to achieve the tribulation realm. In fact, hundreds or even 10,000 years are not too long. It's just the current situation that makes him afraid to wait. What if the stepmother killed him? If you are undecided, you still have to slip away first. If there is an emperor who is willing to help him, only needs a trace of the source of power to induce the source space in his body, and he can instantly draw out the power of life. With the power of life, he can quickly recover to the peak. It's just that he is unaccompanied now. Where can he go to find the emperor to help him? When Jian Wushuang was embarrassed, he felt a sudden karma coming from the bottom of his heart. It's not far away. And the opponent's strength is very strong. Jian Wushuang raised his brows. There are too many people in Wu's family who have blood connections with him. But the feeling he gave him was very indifferent. But the breath that had just arrived was extremely gentle. He is a close relative, and his attitude towards him is different from that of the Wu family. This surprised Jian Wushuang very much. Now he lacks such a relative. As long as he recovers to the peak, the grievances of this body can also be quickly resolved, and then it is time to look for other people. I don't know where Hui Qing and the others have gone. According to the memory of this body, and all the things he had seen before. This long river of time and space is very powerful. It was indeed the same as the Hall Master Xuani said. It was even stronger than the original Morwa time and space. It is one of the 9 most dazzling time and space in the starry sky. Its internal structure is also different from other time and space. The main structure is 9 heavens and 10 earth. As for the universe, it is like a star, floating above the long river of time and space. Gumu continent is one of the 10 places. He entered the Gumu continent. Where did Hui Qing and Wu Zue go? At this time, other people also have the same idea. It's just that what happened to other people is better than Jian Wushuang. But it's not much better. They are all working hard to restore the peak. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.